Hey, welcome back to the Metroball Grid, the greatest show on this channel. My name's Andre. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hopefully you're doing well. It is the 19th of May, 2022, year of our Lord. It is Daniel's birthday. Happy birthday, Daniel. Hopefully everyone's doing well. It's a good week. It's only gonna get better, I hope. I feel like we might, I don't know if we have control over that. We're rolling the dice, aren't we? Jason, how's it going? Yo, Andre, hope you're well. Hey, that's very kind. Hopefully you're doing well too. Ixaron, yo, hello, Meowdy. Hello, Wayne, how's it going as well? Jensling, good evening. Good evening. Chris, happy Thursday to y'all. Hope y'all doing well. It's so nice to hear y'all. Seabass, how's it going? Cactus, evening, friends. Evening to you as well. I don't say this enough when I end the streams, but like this whole thing is an absolute pleasure. Like so many people come to hang out, to say hi, to watch games, to make fun of me. Like all that's really good. I genuinely really look forward to every single Thursday. And I'm glad you could be part of it. Hopefully you're liking it just as half as much. Changeling, happy to tune into stream. Haven't been able to in a while since Thursday night is my usual in-person ANR. How's it been going in person? I know we have players who are in our what's our Slack server who are trying to like get regular meetups, trying to find a place for that. I have no doubt that's going to start spinning up soon enough. But for those who are doing it, how's that been? And what is it like? Oh, camera's now there. That's probably better. Sengren, how's it going? I've been seeing your ads everywhere. You're welcome, I guess. Is it going well? Are people piling it good? What struggles against it? Burden. Hey, May 2 for a weekend. Yeah, totally right. I completely forget about this. For those probably in Canada, you have a long weekend. I think it has something to do with the Queen Victoria. We call it the May 2-4 weekend because of beer, I think, or because it usually happens on the 24th. I'm not actually sure. But where I grew up, one of the streets like down the street would just close off and they would do like very good amateur fireworks. And one time, I don't know how it happened, but I swear this happened. A child had a sparkler and they put it on like he's putting it onto the pavement and then he stepped on it. And what happened is the part of the sparkler that was on fire broke off. And because it was burning, it like a shot down the ground like a damn bullet. And you could see it because it was sparkling. It was beautiful. And then it hit a kid in the butt who was sitting down. And that kid seemed really unhappy. And I have no idea how much that hurt or if it hurt or if it was just shocking, whether it's the heat or the speed or the sharp metal. It was weird. Try it out for yourself at home. Xavier, how's it going? Hello there. Hey, welcome to the stream. Recovering from COVID. Oh, it's going to get better from here. Seabass, hopefully you're doing well. I know a lot of people are that's catching up with them at about this point in time. I really hope you're doing okay. Glad to hear at least you're recovering. I have 2 games of Twilight Empyrean scheduled this weekend. How long does that take? Is that both days? Macaroni sounds like it's a good Thursday already. Hey, welcome. How's it going, Macaroni? It's a fun community to gather with. I'm glad you feel the same way, Ixarin. We've been getting only 2 to 3 right now, kind of sad, but I'm hoping now that school is over, people will come out again, and also when new cards come out too. Yeah, we actually have some good news today about new cards. So we'll get about that into the news, but Nisei basically said that the new set should be coming around at the end of July, which is on track to what they said before. I think they said late summer. So I was expecting July to August, but again, that stuff can move. Baza, how's it going? Hey, happy Thursday. All 3 are correct. It's for Queen Victoria's birthday, May 24th, and you drink a 2-4 of beer. Classic Canada. Scruff says it felt good. Kid was really upset. I'm trying to schedule a local tournament for July. Wish me luck. Only 2 respondents so far. Chris, what area are you in? Because we can shout that out at here. Maybe that'll help. Even if it's just one person, that's fine. I'm doing much better now. Earlier this week was rough though. Glad to hear. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really glad to hear everyone's getting better. Hopefully you can all stay healthy and safe and what have you. As of the 14th, which was last Saturday, it was actually the first day now in Montreal that they've removed the mask mandate. And Maddie and I were out on the 14th, and we were in Laval, where she grew up and her family's from. And there's like a Greek restaurant there that she always liked going to. So I'm like, why don't we go there for breakfast? Or I guess it's kind of lunch, right? And we walked in there and we're wearing masks and we were like, wait, this is weird because the wait staff wasn't wearing masks, which is something we just like haven't seen in 3 years. And we realized, oh my God, today's the day. And yeah, so it's now, I think you only have to wear masks on public transport. Otherwise it's up to you. And I don't know where I stand on that. Like I went out in public, like, well, obviously, but I went out to, like the other day to the Pharmaprix or Shoppers Drug Mart, as it's called in the rest in Canada. And like, I wasn't wearing a mask. And then you turn an aisle and you see somebody not wearing a mask and you see someone's face. And then you realize, wait, I'm in public, which is like a weird thing. But like, I feel like the mask kind of helped with basic like social anxiety stuff. Or like, now I'm in person in public and people can see me and I can see them, as opposed to like put a mask on and nobody knows who the heck you are. So we're kind of back to that. I'm in this SF Bay area, mostly East Bay focused. Used to have a huge scene here, but a lot of people have moved on. Oh yeah, no, there's a lot of people. At least I know a couple of people who played in the San Francisco Bay Area. Beans. I have no doubt that some people will be showing back up. Like new cards is going to be a big deal. We'll see if that brings in a bigger crowd, but I hope it does. Hi, been loving your content. So glad I've finally been able to catch you live. Love from Australia. Keep up the amazing work. Yo, OS Intelligence. That's very kind. Glad you've been enjoying it. Thanks for leaving that comment. That's actually very kind. Hopefully you're having a good, I assume it's Friday at this point, right? Staying warm. Chris says, I'm in Utah. Message ersatz jello on green level clearance Discord. Okay, cool. So if you're in Utah or you're around there and you want to get involved in a tournament in July, find ersatz jello on green level clearance. Macaroni says Japan is just starting to discuss non-masking if outside. It'll be a long time before the majority go unmasked, I expect. Yeah, from my understanding, like maybe this is just ignorance or stereotypes, but I know at least like just the common courtesy mask, personal mask, if you were sick and going out in public has been way more normalized in Asia from what I've seen, right? Like it wasn't weird 5 years ago if you see someone publicly wearing a medical mask, but it's totally different here. Spirit Shaker Florida just been normal. Yeah. Yeah, I imagine there's been no masking down in parts of the States for a long time now. For better or worse. I don't know. Okay, today we're going to be playing some Weyland. We actually played this deck, Quiverfull. This is a deck that Aaron, she posted last week. And it's an interesting deck. We had some good success with it. But it's an Argus deck. Has some good agendas. And we're going to be playing some Weyland Fast Advance as well. Weyland Fast Advance, I think, is actually pretty potent right now. I think there's a lot of people chasing that. We saw a lot of that at the Store Championship a couple weeks ago. And the big thing is Azef Protocols, another 3-2. So the idea is that you can run a deck with 7 3-2s. Abstractly is quite attractive. But I think we're gonna do some tweaking because I've seen a lot of lists for Weyland Fast Advance, and I'm not convinced that any of them are like fully optimized. So we're gonna definitely look at it for sure. Catching the live stream for once. It's between flights from Montreal to the UK. Oh no way, you're in Montreal. How'd that go? No lockdowns, no vax, no mask life goes on. I forgot about it. I forgot about it a lot. See some elderly people wearing masks at Walmart sometimes. Yo, Kyle, now play Mwanza Argus. I don't want to. I kind of always wanted to play Argus Mwanza with like 1-pointers only, but I just don't like Mwanza, so I'm gonna kind of keep that away from myself. Did you ever figure out how to deal with the pad tap or Zeki duo? Scrub, yes. You have to trash pad tap more than I have been, specifically in the last like 2 streams ago where we streamed with Pat and played NBN. Like I don't think I was trashing the pad taps. And then you realize I wasn't playing like my economy operations, which is the money you would recoup from playing the pad tap. So it kind of breaks even. But I feel like you do need to trash it unless you're going like blazingly fast. And this deck in theory could go a bit fast. So I still think to some extent you want to trash pad taps. Also, this deck, like Weyland is pretty rough. Because you have a lot of abilities that can give credits to the runner on their turn, which is another way to trigger pad tap. Normally pad tap only fires on the corpse turn, but like they run into mouseless, they boomerang this, gain a credit. It's like pretty good for them. And mouseless is pretty ubiquitous. We'll see. This deck is strange, right? Like 14 influence. We talked about this a little bit last week. There's a good write-up that we talked about too. The name is really interesting. But the problems we were running with this deck is that it doesn't use all its influence. It's not running Spin Doctor, which is really kind of strange. And we have influence for Spin Doctor. We're also very good, like most Weyland is, to getting to 5 points before like your win conditions kind of fall apart, where the runner stabilizes with their Rozekis and all their draw and all their breakers and a misdirection. That I would really, really, really like to have another copy of Audacity, just because we have so many 3-2s, and even we can top deck a hostile off of a draw and fast advance it. But it's a bit tricky. It's a bit tricky because we only have 1 Audacity, and once it's in the bin, like there's no way to recur it. So it's a bit hard, and there were so many times where we had it on like a Project Atlas token, but we couldn't get a way to score at the last agendas. So I don't know. I feel like there's parts of this deck that I would like to change. We're gonna play it for now, and then I think we're gonna do some more experimentations and play just fast advance Weyland. And I think a big part of that is just I'm in the mindset of playing Weyland like it is Fast Advance Weyland, because I think Fast Advance Weyland is really good right now, and I've played a fair bit of it practicing for Store Champs. Yo, Jazz, how's it going? What's up, party people? Elwin, good afternoon, good evening. Yo, did you end up sharing? I asked, I don't think you did, but you were talking about making a Jinteki deck. And I was like, yo, do you have a deck list you want to talk about? We can like work through it. I don't think you posted something. No pressure if you don't want to. At the same time, there was a lot of one person hospitalized with severe COVID symptoms in Tokyo this week. That seemed like a low number. Hopefully they're doing okay. Sunshine kills everything down here anyways. It's like standing around a giant plasma ball. Yeah, that sounds super scientific. Versus those Steve decks, you're losing those credits to Doof anyways. It's an issue we have, and I haven't been very excited about playing against Steve just because of the inevitability of Steve's power, which is just like recur. And like, we've talked about like the podcasts that came up on Team Covenant last week about how recursion is a problem in a lot of card games, and understanding that you're going to be diversion of funds 4 times and there's very little you can do about it. You kind of have to go quite fast. Otherwise that's going to be a huge issue. And it's another reason why Audacity is so good in that sort of matchup. But like, yeah, it's a problem. It really is. You responded to YouTube comment with a link. Probably did not post it, Elwin. If you post a link, I think it ate it. So if you want to post like a number, or you want to, I don't know, we can figure out another way to do it, but I'm pretty sure I didn't see it, because if you post a link, sometimes it'll show it on your side, but like shadow ban it on everyone else's page. I do wonder if they're trying to shadow my meta. Would do anything here? What do you mean, Solomir? As your friendly neighborhood Marvel Champions correspondent, X-Men box previewed, if you care about such things. Schmendrix, how's it going? I saw it today. I am so jealous. So I've been playing Lord of the Rings, the card game. I've been getting into it, which it's, you know, been around for a really long time, and they're not making really new stuff, but they're reprinting some stuff, and I'm excited for this. But this was just announced today, which is like another deluxe set, and it has X-Men in it, and I'm not too familiar with X-Men. I didn't grow up watching cable television, so I never watched the cartoons. I never read the X-Men books. The most I know of it's from like the old movies from like 2000s. But the really cool thing about this is seeing Fantasy Flight Games talk and release about stuff, because they haven't put out like an Arkham article in like, I think, more than half a year. And on top of that, this is coming alongside like an expedited launch. Because from my understanding, how this works is Marvel Champions comes out with a deluxe box, and then every month or so, there's like a new hero pack, which will have comes with a complete deck that you can play out of the package, but then cards that you can deck build with on top of that. But now they're saying instead of having 4 heroes per cycle, there's now 6 heroes per cycle. And the same day that this releases on shelves, you get 2 packs. So it's like more content coming out faster. I'm hoping this is the beginning of Fantasy Flight Games getting back on track, because I've no doubt like the pandemic and shipping issues has been pretty hard. But they're saying like this will be out on store shelves with 2 things with it, and then we have 4 more things after that. It's just cool to see more of this sort of stuff, because we haven't seen stuff like this in a while. That being said, I don't play Marvel Champions, so I don't know how cool this stuff is. It looks cool. People like Kitty Pryde, but we'll see. Lord of the Rings has been really good though. I've been into that. When it gone, speaking of release, did you see the Nisei news? Yeah, we have it open. We'll talk about that after we play the deck list a week, but yeah, it's good. It's good stuff for sure. I think the Venn diagram of folks who play around Vancouver and watch the stream are circle. Yes. How's it going, West Coast? I think Recursion's currently at a pretty good spot in Netrunner right now. Ixaron, it's not bad. Like, I don't think Recursion is a problem most people would highlight. I just feel frustrated when I play against Steve Cambridge, because there's an inevitability that you can't play around. I would actually be much more interested in Steve Cambridge if Steve Cambridge said specifically you couldn't pick 2 of the same card by name. I think Steve Cambridge would be a much more interesting card, an exciting card in the games you're playing against him, the games you're playing with him, if you specifically were forced to pick 2 different cards by title. Obviously, it would make that way worse, but I think that would be interesting. And those are my more interesting decisions, as opposed to do you want to pull back a diversion or a diversion? Don't like it. We need more Arkham love. I'm hoping it's coming soon. They said they'd be talking about it early summer, and we're getting there. Marvel Champions is pretty fun. I've only played the core set, really, and that wasn't doing it for me. I need to revisit it. If you have Disney Plus, you can watch the old X-Men cartoon series. It's a bit rough at times, but has some good bits. Yo, we're catching up. We're rewatching all of The Simpsons. Season 1. It's something else, that's for sure. Techie Grinder says Recursion is a problem. Yeah, that might be true. I think it's also less good if Steve was not a Gmod. I agree with that when it gone. I feel like the ubiquity of everybody playing Steve Cambridge is really frustrating. Yo, Eric, how's it going? Isn't the problem more so the corp decks are so weak that they can't survive 4 doofs, and not that you get doofed 4 times? We used to live in a world where you get siphoned 9 times and corp still won. Yeah, I think you're right. It's like, it's hard to remember that sort of stuff, to be like, oh, you got account siphoned, you know, Deja Vu account siphoned, same old thing account siphoned, and you still had a game plan. I still do remember playing like the not good decks, like, you know, the tier 2, tier 3 decks, and being like, okay, on my turn, credit, and they did like same old thing into account siphon, and it was really not fun for anyone, or at least for the corp. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a problem, which side the problem is on, but like, I don't know. I guess I look at getting doofed a bunch and want more power, not less. Yo, how is the, what's it called? The Pro Tour, man? I haven't heard anything. I haven't been tuning into the Discord, but hopefully y'all had a good time. Okay. And therefore in every Anarch deck, yeah, the Gmod problem is not great. We used to live in a world where you could MCA inform in corporate troubleshooter. Oh, this guy was falling. We have this deck already loaded. We're just going to jump in. Probably worth revisiting. They add a lot of additional mechanics out of the core set. I have no doubt I'd be more interested in Marvel Champions outside of the core set. It was the same thing when I played Flesh and Blood. I played like the teaching deck and it was like, well, this is not very interesting because it was like very basic mechanics. But then as soon as you started playing later sets where it's like, oh, you have to deal with these extra resources and deal with these different systems, it became actually pretty good. And I was into it. Yeah. It was okay. Ian had a really good time. I had a less good time. Saw a friend in NYC, which was good. Okay, I want to hear more about that, Eric. I want to hit up. I don't know if you all have time at some point to like we can get on a call on the Discord and just talk through it because I'd love to hear your all experience. If I dump the Netrunner DB URL here, will it go through? Elwin, you can try. If anything, maybe just post. Just post. What's it called? Like the numbers or the the string, and we can deal with that. Okay, Cabinessa. This is Eric, straight from the Pro Tour. Opening hand. We can jam behind here. I see we still have hats. We have the single audacity. We have an economic warfare. We can keep this. If we lose the Rashida, we don't have that much of a good game plan. But I don't know how easily. Like they might just like pull out a Mayfly turn 1 and go from there. Oh, well, that kind of helps. I'm not actually sure what a Cabiness is going to do. Like she can't pull viruses, so it's not like you can conduit off the top. I did not mean to do that. We definitely want to get this out. From here, what do we ice up? HQ is like okay to ice up. I don't think there's going to be an imp or any really HQ pressure. So R&D pressure is kind of where it is, whether this is a deep dive deck or something. So we can consider this. I want to keep the Rashida in though. And we're going to draw up a fair bit. So if we draw into a bunch of agendas and no ice, we would want this on HQ. It might be reasonable just to click for credit there. Solomir asks, Eric, have you ever played at a big CCG event like MTG Grow? I don't actually know if Eric has. I kind of doubt it. Oh, and remind me if I forget. I'm going to write down a notepad to check into this right after. Check Owen. Spelled that wrong. It's fine. You can't see. Okay. So Beth coming down, early Rizeki. None of that came off the ability, right? No, that was just straight from hand. Okay. So we need to go really fast. Okay. That's something. Getting the scored is fine. It's okay. We can't really res this, which is okay. Like we need to trash something to this, so I don't feel too bad about that. Server 1, we can put this into server 1. We can get this into a new remote. If they run it, we're okay with it, I think. Thanks, I do appreciate that. You don't have to. Oh, and I asked. I'd be excited to. Okay, so we know very little about this deck. But Eric generally plays good stuff, so if they're playing Cabinesawu, there's probably something interesting going on here. Beth could mean anything, like it doesn't necessarily mean deep dive. You do see the deep dive coming, though, if you do see it, as soon as you see like Out of the Ashes. Yeah, Solomir, we still have hats on everything. No idea. It's perpetually Kornzeki. SMC, okay, so Misdirection, ASOS Pawn Shop, okay. Could it be Apocalypse? Simochip. Honestly, I'm kind of considering this to be Apocalypse. Let's see what 2 damage we hit. We have to trash something here. I don't want a Rashida. I think we're just going to advance. We have to trash and install card. We'll trash the Archer. And we hit a Revolver. Okay, so that actually is easier for them to play in a DZMZ. So it doesn't really tell us anything about their deck. Apocalypse into deep dive. Yeah, I tried that macaroni. I'm not convinced that's that much better than just deep diving again. But we've seen only now like what 3 influence. This might just be good stuff. The Revolver means like we really are not that excited about resing an Archer. It's a Rashida. It's a good trash. Yo, MTI, how's it going? What's up, Andre? I rarely catch you live. From fun fact, my friends organized an OG Netrunner Swiss League. We finished the core set only bracket, and now I'm deck building for the core Genesis plus Creation Control Week. That's super cool. I see a lot of people like revisiting old Netrunner because like there's just about any like there's no reason not to. It's especially if you have the cards. That's really exciting. I hope you're having a good time with it. Also, thank you for the kind words. Okay, we don't have anything to jam here. We definitely can do hard hitting news too big to fail. So we can draw once. So here we don't have to do really a trace. They're gonna get 3 credits. It's still a bit tricky for them. Not that we have kill punishment in hand, but they probably have to pawn something if they want to like pull the misdirection, because the misdirection is 2 credits and it's 4 more credits and 2 clicks. Revolver being good against Archer is absolutely canon in the lore. Sundog shot up an Archer on his way into the server. Oh, that's true, isn't it? Wait, how do they have so much money? That's more money than I thought they'd have. Wait, what happened? Trashes simulchip to use simulchip to install a program? To install SMC? Oh, so they trashed this to install the SMC to get that down. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, they pawned SMC. Okay. Still good for us. We can jam on the table. We definitely want to drop into an agenda. Here we don't have an agenda, which is pretty bad. So we want to get something that will end the run on the remote server, which is not going fast enough here. Like, we love an agenda. We could have drawn once more, actually. I think it would have been right to draw once more. Don't love it. This would be cool, though. If they buy this bait and then hit the price deck, we might have something to do with that. But at this point, they're going to get like 3 credits a turn, like 5 credits a turn. So they're really going faster. It's a blast, although almost every run of the core set was Gabriel. Yeah, I don't think the core set original meta was that balanced. Like, you see a lot of Magnum Opus Gabriel, and then everything else on the corp side largely revolves around Seasource since the Scorched Earth. All right, they didn't pawn. Reaver. Oh, cool. That's a huge hit off the top. They have a paperclip. I think we can just jam the Oaktown. The problem is, like, the hard hitting news is quite bad. It really is quite bad. Considering that they can clear all the tags for half their turn. They still have to get through a Bailiff, which is going to be, 5 credits. 4 cards with bad publicity. Then a Mouseless is still annoying, but doesn't end the run. So this is the thing where we're going to get to, like, 4 points. I need to move my head. And then, like, at least we can Audacity out from here. The deck is not unlikely to have Clot. Eco War's not irrelevant here? No, it's not. They didn't run, though. The turn that they ran, they were down on 1 credit. But yeah, this is definitely interesting. It does force them to, like, pawn something. But yeah, like, beginning of turn 8 credits, that's kind of wild. Like, they get much more money than we do. Jaw. They can maybe let us have this and play control. Daily cast, wild. So these are each, like, technically 6 credits, if I'm not mistaken. So that's good to know. Do you have anything to bait out Clot? We can just install advance, basically anything. I could have considered what we want to do there. We could have advanced that last click. That was a bit messy. Stacking Bailiffs on the remote server is not amazing. We really want border controls if we have anything on the remote server. Also, this deck might struggle to deal with, wow, yeah, Reject makes sense. They might actually struggle to deal with, what's it called? The whatever, Funhouse, the new Data Raven. But basically anything that we install threatens out Clot. We could be like ask for action because we can Audacity out a 2-1, or we just install advance out 2-1. We have no other advanceable cards though. Pentagraph, that's cool. This means that they can Clot though. Archer, they have no access to the Archer. If this is their only revolver, like the Archer's not bad. Ugly. And I don't love playing this, considering the bad publicity is really easy for them to use. But we need some money. We haven't rezzed any ice, right? Like, this server is 11 credits. I think we're going to get to 5 points and we're going to get stuck because Whiteblade is, like, playing very efficient late game shaper. And we don't have snare or anything that will really capitalize on, like, a potential misplay. This means the revolver comes back, so now the Archer is pretty bad. Are there any cards so strong right now that their corresponding faction gets a boost simply from the card is in faction? What do you mean, Scrub? In general, though, that's how the game works, right? And now? Like, from the Midnight Sun booster set? Like, every faction wants it, but one doesn't have to spend influence. Oh, like, just ubiquitous good cards. Yeah, Spin Doctor is definitely good. Spin Doctor is obviously incredibly important. I don't think we're going to get Hushekt here. Spin Doctor is good. I think Seamless Launch is kind of getting to that point. On runner side, I don't think there's anything that jumps out. Rizeki probably is the closest to it, being a ubiquitous card. Yeah, Seamless Launch, I think, is very, very, very playable in every faction. I don't think enough people play. Yeah, we're 27 to 21. So, like, we just need to stack, like, Price X and have that be awkward enough. But at this point, they have to, everything we single advance, they have to deal with. It's a jailbreak. Might as well res this. We res it for 1 anyways. The only downside here is they see what this ice is. But jailbreak in Shaper is really cool. This is just good stuff. Like, low to the ground, good stuff. Oiler coming in. And a paperclip. Is this automated? Yes. So they're going to draw a card C2 here. Again, we do have an Argus ability, so if they steal agendas, they have to take a tag or 2 damage. They have 4 clicks left. They install a pantograph clicklessly. Like, how wild is this? They take the tag. How wild is this? Like, totally Doom Rig, we cannot go fast enough. Totally Doom Rig, we cannot go fast enough. And they still have access to Clot if they need to. In terms of influence, this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So Clot is definitely possible. Credit, remove tag, right? This is going to be every turn. The one thing we could potentially do is put an archer here, so the archer uses simul chip, which uses a revolver, so that we have a chance of fast advancing out. Consulting visit doesn't get into too much. Economic warfare into hard-hitting news doesn't make a lot of sense. We can put this here and hope that it does something. The issue, though, is if we forfeit an agenda, we are no longer on game point, which is pretty important. I'm not actually convinced that hedge funding here is good, considering, again, they're going to make 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 credits to start a turn. Like, we have to just dump this stuff and hope that they end up with enough tags with price hack. If we put enough things in this remote server, like Funhouse is admittedly taxing. The issue, though, is if they run through the Funhouse, especially when they have 5 clicks, and they run through the Funhouse and take the price tag, like, it's not that hard. Oh, I guess they did throw out the misdirection. That's interesting. I thought they still had it on the table. And here they can consider trashing something on our turn with so they can get a card draw with the Reaver. Because this is the first time a turn, so they can use on our turn and their own turn to draw 2 cards. But this card is 4 influence. It is so good. Trash the daily casts to gain 3 off of it before it goes, and then they draw a card. Then they gain 2 off daily cast, 2 off that. We can't res this. We have to just hope to win off fast advance. And we just don't have enough to bluff. They break this for free. They have 3 bad publicity. Things are getting bad. Like, I think this is where we get to 5 when we lose. Oh, excuse me. I would love to play Snare in this deck. I think Snare, people don't respect it. Eric is playing very cautiously. But I just think at this point oh, that's bad, obviously. I don't think we have a game anymore. Pantograph gets a free install. Allows you to even, like, get a card out of hand that you're worried to trash with meat damage if you want to take the meat damage. Oh, install Clot. Oh, wow, okay. At least we can purge this. They're over MU. Paperclip in the bin doesn't matter that much when they have 3 bad publicity. But we probably just purge next turn. We don't have a Cyberdex Fire Suite or any way to, like, score out through Clot. They've also are locking the top of the deck. So we don't really want to draw. I think we drew last turn, which was foolish. They drew when we purged. Oh, that's so cool. Because the card got trashed. Because when you purge, the runner trashes their Clot. Yeah. This is when the core purges trash this program. It's really cool. Yeah, right? That's super cool. But that's important because you can't keep this around with Dummy Box, because Dummy Box allows you to only protect a card that Corp trashes. So you can't Dummy Box Clot. I think that's something I got wrong when we were reviewing Dummy Box. Mouseless, this is, like, still not a lot of money for them to break. It's something. It uses the bad publicity plus it weights 7. Okay, never mind. That's bad. Consulting visit from hand. Oh, they're deep diving. Yeah, we're gonna get deep dived here, and they're likely to win because they can see 2 agendas, or 2. They can access 2 cards. Paperclip coming down. They have the slot. Bailiff gets us 1. Bailiff technically credit positive. Oh, okay, we lose. Good game. Taking the 2 meat damage, losing a Harbinger and Overclock, and then if the deep dive whiffs here, there's no agendas. No, that's a game. Oh man, what do y'all think about that? Like, I feel like there's 2 agendas. Like, I feel like we just can't do anything unless we draw and really aggressively go. And, like, we don't have Spin Doctor. We don't have any way to, like, really fast draw. So I think there's a couple turns where, like, we iced up R&D. We probably should have just kept drawing because we needed to jam more in the remote. But I don't think, like, there's much we could do there. Yeah. I don't think there's anything I can do. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, right? Drawing that much is such a tell. Oh, for sure. But, like, we've scored out in the first couple turns, like, 3 agendas. The chance of us having more agendas is pretty unlikely. So we just have to draw. But yeah, I don't know what we're supposed to do. Like it's turn what? Like this is fucking, excuse me, HB turns. Like this is turn, excuse me, where's the turn start? Why, wait, what turn is it? Oh, because they stole the oak tone here. Like this was not a slow Shaper game. This was turn 11 and they have 26 credits. I think the tournament was fine. If you want to hit me up about the calling, let's find a time in chat. I think the tournament was fine. I think my relationship with Fab plus mental health plus lost goes bad. So mostly that. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'd be down to hear more. That deck is a 1 of DRM? No, I couldn't. It doesn't. CV shuffles the deck. You can break R&D lock at least a bit. It can break R&D lock, but like, not really. Like if we play this, it's 2 of our 2 clicks. So then we draw once and we have 1 card in hand. So it breaks lock for 1 card. So at that point, you might as well just draw. GG. Fab Adam, it's Flesh and Blood. So Flesh and Blood is a card game that I used to play a fair bit last year. And they just had their biggest like pro tour organized play, like big money thing. And Eric and some friends from the West Coast went down to play in Jersey on the more like casual side of things. And they came back last weekend, so I didn't hear how it went. I think we just had a really hard matchup. Yeah, totally. It's difficult, but like, I don't know. Is this just good against everything? Like, I feel like the HB decks can go even faster. I kind of disregarded Weaver's Shot, but not being the strongest DD Woo. Wonder if I was wrong, if Eric's playing it. Yeah, even the Pantograph felt good. This just felt good. Eric plays it well, obviously. All right, cool. Thank you. Yeah, no problem. I obviously play a lot of Shaper. Its strongest matchup is Weyland at the moment. You think this is just like the strongest? Because obviously like Misdirection changes the matchup so much. Like they can't do what they did with Misdirection. Arc Lockdown is just a good silver bullet against current runner meta. Could have killed the Paperclip this game too. I'm not convinced killing the Paperclip would actually matter. I'm assuming they have an AI. You're right. It could have been really good though. I think Arc Lockdown is really playable right now, as is Salset Slums. Or not Salset Slums, sorry, Salem's Hospitality. I think those are both very good right now. For Deep Dive and for anything in general. I think Arc Lockdown is really good. I just never like playing Arc Lockdown because like the cool thing you did just makes your opponent miserable. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't feel like you did something clever. Like, oh, I tricked you. It's just like, oh, you lose. But if that's the case and more people play that, you just don't discard the Paperclip. You just don't do it, right? Like once you've been burned, you just lose a click. And then technically you actually lose money because you have to play the Paperclip from hand. And not play off bad publicity. When I queue into Weyland on Woo, it feels like an automatic win. I wouldn't be too surprised if it's like a very, very, very good matchup. Scrub says, Singer says Scrub, it's sort of the core of the game design. Bravado is actually the first one that springs to mind. What is that response? I think that was just a really hard matchup. Wait, Singer, what's that in response to specifically? Like every faction wants it, but one doesn't have to spend influence. I'm not sure. Salem's into Lockdown, that is like where you've actually done something and you feel good about it. Oh, Ken, interesting. Ken's probably Deep Dive as well. Ken's also very tricky because Ken is like running very obviously multiple inside jobs, so you can't like score behind a single ice. So our remote server needs to be double ice. We do have Atlas Audacity, which like isn't great. This is not much better. The issue is if we do Funhouse into Bailiff, we want the Funhouse on the inside. That's actually a couple credits. So we have to set that up over a couple turns. We also have to ice up HQ though, so we don't get diversioned. Killing out of the Ashes with Arc Lockdown is so good. You can kill Laborites off max. It's really good. I think there's something you want to do in every matchup. Like you can kill the Clot, you can kill the Paperclip, Arc Lockdown. Yeah, as you said, specifically killing Laborites is such a big deal. Okay, this is going to be expensive. New remote. They could Maker's Eye us. I don't think Maker's Eye is that good turn 1. If you hit Argus and hit a couple agendas, like that seems really awkward. Oh, this is not what we want. We want this. I think we're actually going to too big to fail off the start. We'll install 1. Because next turn we want to do install advance. So I'll too big to fail to start. This might make them not want to run. But they generally have to run anyways. Okay, that's a good start. Had to jump into Salem's into Lockdown. Which forks you against inside job. Bravado? Oh, DreamNet. That's good. They're running a lot. This card is really good. People used to play like, what's it called? John Massanori. Might as well play this. Hey, Mano, how's it going? I feel like a lot of runner decks are running Deep Dive these last few weeks. Meta defining card. Yeah, it's a new card, and it's really easy to play with Out of the Ashes. It's playable in Swift as well, but I like it a fair bit less. They can probably let us have this agenda and then maybe try and lock the top of the deck, but we can res both of these. Been jamming Hatchet Scorp for some chill Eternal recently. It's been fun. No clue if Woo's good or not, but got a list from a friend. Haven't played in a bit. All right, so this is going to draw 2 cards, gain a credit, and see 2 cards. That's pretty good. Because mind you, Ken says the first time a turn you play a run event, gain 1 credit. So this gains a credit, draws a card. DreamNet draws a card. I don't think they're going to be digital, get 2 link. And then they'll see 2 cards. Oh, Oaktown. It's sometimes hard for them to take meat damage because they have multiple breakers in hand. Or singleton breakers. You generally don't want to lose those. But they did, and they lost Career Fair and Daily Cast. So that actually cost them 8 credits. Like straight up 8 credits. Technically about 5 credits because clearing a tag. But they also, yeah, that's a really cute hit to hit those 2 together. Bravado HQ. We might as well res the Bailiff. Just ends the run. They still get a lot. They probably want to keep the Bravado for another turn, right? So that you can get as much as you can off Ken. But maybe you have so many run events that it's not that necessary. They saw off the top of the deck an Atlas. Oh, because they trashed. Yeah, of course. I'm worried we're going to see HQ pressure here. We have to just score this out. So this card gained us 8 credits. Off-rolled office gains you 7. This is better. Just running R&D here for single. Getting a card draw. Oh. That feels really unlucky. Taking a tag, clearing a tag. Never did I expect to see Scorpion in the same sentence. It's definitely strong. I've been experimenting with 50 to 60 card woo builds mainly because I hate Grinder. There's so many agendas. They keep like hitting one and not getting the second one. I think we're going to do install advance. They're still not really showing a way to get through this. The issue is the Funhouse doesn't like hard end the run. So if they steal this, they're on game point. So if they diversion us, we're on 6, then we can't res both of those. That might actually have been worth, if we're at 12, we get oh no, we get 1 more from that. 8 points in top 11, normal, cool. Rongi, what's up? Yeah, this has been going okay for us. Like 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 points in the top, like what, 11 cards? Yeah. Okay, Boomerang. Okay. Looks like we're gonna lose this and an inside job. Ooh, Boomerang inside job is good. They have to end with a tag and take 2 meat damage or something else. We have to res both though, and now we're totally destitute. Like this is just bad. I don't know what we're meant to do here. Like I don't know how we're meant to deal with inside job mouseless. Like maybe we just have to go slower. We res the Funhouse, we're on 2 credits. Pretty bad. We've also spent a lot of money on this Project Atlas. Maybe we wanted to score it out just as a 3-2 so that this doesn't like so obviously get the run here. Oh shit, excuse me. They didn't want to go through the Funhouse. Resing both ice here is causing me a lot of internal screaming. Well, we got the agenda, but I hear you. But if we res 1, like they inside job it. What do you do, Eric? Opponent just hard punted? I think our opponent should have gone through there. So now we have to draw into the Audacity or another 3-2. Dirty Laundry on RD, gain 4 credits, draw a card. Pretty good. Never punished. But what would you do there? Like you think you'd res nothing? Maybe resing nothing is correct. I think resing 1 is wrong. Yeah, you res nothing. That's what Eric's saying. Because if you res nothing, the Boomerang, you know, is not great. And then the inside job goes nowhere, but they get the agenda. I didn't think they would jack out. Mutual favor going to call down a paperclip. That's the homie misplay. You see your homie misplay, you misplay back. Oh, it's a corroder. Save 1 influence. Whoa. Okay, so we score this out and then we can win off of the Audacity. If they diversion us, it's a bit more awkward. But we have everything we need. We drew the 1. I'm not adasting it. There's no way we're adasting it. That would be terrible. That was not what I thought. That was not what I thought it was. Oh, such a power play. Credit. Let's go. I'm not pulling it back. Probably should, honestly. Yeah, we should. No, we shouldn't. They have legworks for days. I'm not pulling it back. Yeah, install advance making an NGO is probably better. I think leaving the advancement on there is correct. The cool thing is they run HQ, we gain credits. But I think they're going to give us credits and diversion us. Again, 2 cards, 2 cards, see 2 cards. It was so easy. We saw the line of play. I don't know if they're going to run this. They probably do. That's fine. God, it's bad. There's a jank supersized blue deck I was experimenting a while. You see, this is why we don't keep an HQ. Like, you see? No. You jam the NGO front. Gain a credit. Summon NGO. Like, this is exactly what we need. Ah, see 3 cards? We're just pretending you could claw it for practice. Action. And a Swift. Order. They probably drew that off the jailbreak. Lol. And now we just have to hold on. So we can put a Veritas on R&D. It doesn't end the run. It's so after we're gonna win this game. Yeah, it's I do not expect any of this to happen. But it's going okay. It's going okay. It's just holding on. Now there's no end the run code gates, I don't think, in this list. If you consider Funhouse. So hopefully they stay away from this. This doesn't actually do much. We survive a diversion. The only thing we don't survive is like an embezzle, right? We stumbled through 2 windows to 5 points. Yeah, I know. They're going to see most of our hand here and draw a card. I'm going to pay 1 credit for the privilege. Well, technically bad publicity, so no. This is a startup deck, looks like. Yeah, so far it is a startup deck, isn't it? I think you're right. Inside job? No reason to res. We need to remember last click. We can pull the agenda if we need to. This just means we win while covered in broken glass. Oh no, they're swifting us. Hold on. I want to act before your final click. Before your next click. Okay, hold on. So 1 second. So they're swifting us. Or sorry, deep diving us. All right? Because they have 2 clicks here. So they'll deep dive in C2. So the question is, do we pull a 3-2 agenda to hand? Because we can use the audacity to pull a 3-2 agenda to hand. Then they could swift once, and if it fails, run HQ, and then they have a 40% to get the Atlas. Yeah. Thinking. So is it worth it? Like, numerically, does it make sense to pull the agenda to hand? Because right now, 2, 4, 6. What's left in the deck? We have 2 Azef. You 100% Alice here? Deep instinctual play tells me yes. Okay, so I think we are going to pull it. I'm going to pull the above the law because it's unique. Anyone who does math is cheating? I think you don't. I'm not actually sure you do. I don't want to run the numbers. This is scaring me. The Docklands Pass is scaring me. Because I'm not sure. Like, this is a 40% play in hand as opposed to what it could be in the deck. Only a single Atlas. Standoff. Is Docklands only the first time a turn? Oh, it's the first time a turn. Okay, 100%. Yeah, excuse me. First time a turn. So 100% that we pull it to hand because now it's a 20% chance. That feels better. 40% chance actually didn't feel that good. Because I think keeping a card in the deck is less than 40% chance of finding it on the top 8. 20% chance? I don't know. Yeah, they already... Catherine, how's it going? I totally forgot that Docklands is the only first time I turn. It's not just like a cheaper HQ interface. Please don't. We worked so hard. Yes, we worked so hard. Oh my god. What a game. We just played perfectly on every corner. Never punished. Oh, good game. That was wild. I don't know if the math works out that you should be pulling that. 60 to 28 credits. We had 28 credits. Like, what's happening? I hope someone like runs the math who's not watching live to say whether that was worth pulling. I'm not convinced it is. It gives me 1 fresh card as well. Oh yeah. Oh, true. That's also a good point. I didn't even consider that. Yeah, so true. Yeah, we also shuffled the deck, so they actually saw 8 new cards instead of 7. So we basically said we gave you a 20% chance to snipe an HQ. So you can see a new card and take 1 agenda out of the deck. There's no way that was worth doing. I just feel like it was more exciting. Yeah, 7 chances to C2 is not good. 8 chances to C2? Yeah, maybe that wasn't right. I think I might have taken 20% X2 instead of DD there. Oh, that's yeah, but they wouldn't have won. Yeah, maybe you're right. Wait, what's the chance that it's better for you to run HQ instead of DD? Yeah, maybe that's true. Where's my hypergeometric? How many agendas are left in the deck? Coach J, let's check. So what do we have? We have 2 Azefs, 1 Hostile, and Oaktown. So there was 6 agendas in the deck. We took 1 out, left it on 5. Standoff doesn't count. Yeah. So there was 6. We put it down to 5. Yeah. Considering, I think those odds might be better. 5 hits and 34 cards. I'm not gonna be able to do any of this math sort of live, so hopefully someone could say something smarter. It's that 1 in 5 seems like really bad odds. Is 2 20s better than getting 2 out of 5 agendas in HQ on 8 cards? Only 5 after I pulled. Found it. At Nelson, hold on. Thanks for dropping. Hey peeps, just pop in and say hi. I won't stay the whole stream. Gonna try to get a game going on tag with my friend who's also a newbie. Gonna do startup deck for learning. Yo, Nelson, enjoy it. Oh, have fun. Thanks for dropping by. It's 8 pulls out of a 5 out of 34 deck without replacement. That's above 20%. But it's not 20%, it's 2 20s, Eric. If he doesn't, if Arizona, yeah, he doesn't go for HQ. Or sorry, for the deep dive. Because 20% isn't target, it's 2 20%. What is the odds of having a success in 2 20%? 37% to win the deep dive with what you did? Really? Chance of mything both 20s is 64%. Which means that's a third. It's very comparable. It's like 36% to 37%. Oh, but they're super comparable. Says chat. Around 36% on either play. Oh man. Yeah. Wolfram Alpha. If Wolfram Alpha's still around, let's go. Never tell me the odds. You won, so the play was correct. Yes, yeah, that's true. You should jam your atlases. You generally always have 2 credits. Oh man. Okay. Wild. Yeah, you too. Oh, get out. Hey, well played. Hey, thanks for the game. Did on Destiny Hostile nobody won this game? I really was not going to commit to that play. There's no way I would commit to that play just because we have no way to win if we done that. I gone way into Runeterra instead for a bit. Runeterra, that's like the flat Minecraft, right? Catch you around, eh? Psychologically speaking, talking to active play feels better because it feels like you're doing something. Yeah, totally. I'd rather lose because we did something than just like, I hope they don't win. Still, I'd rather just do the numbers though, if we're really trying to win. Choosing to add an S from ours on there. The calc says with 32 deck size, 6 agendas, 7 cards is 39%. With 32 deck size, 5 agendas, 8 cards is 37%. So you're saying actively pulling the agenda was wrong. Oh, but that's ignoring the HQ run on top of it. So I think it was pulling was wrong. Ready to regret something you have done than something that happened. Okay, let's talk about some news. Nisei, some news. I don't actually fully know what this one is. Oh, I kind of do. Cobra AI gets player self-registration. I think Pat asked when he was on a stream like a couple weeks ago, he's like, if Nisei could do anything like to update anything on the website, what would you be excited to do? And this is something. Oh, Runeterra's the League of Legends card game. What am I thinking of? What's this the sideways Minecraft? Terra something. You're right. Runeterra is yeah, it's League of Legends, Hearthstone or whatever. Terraria, thank you. Okay, huge. Everyone who's watched this and got upset at me, that's fine. I also tried because Lucas Litzinger was talking about it on the podcast. He was last on in Team Covenant, but what's it called? They have their Spell Slingers, which is like a more casual Magic the Gathering app. So I haven't gotten into it enough. I don't really play like Hearthstone or any of those like card games, so I don't think I was the market. Sideways Minecraft. But you can play it in Canada and I think Australia. I started playing it again around Christmas and managed to make it into the Invitational Top 1K Player Tournament last weekend. Oh, how'd that go? Yeah, well done. Sideways Minecraft. It was asked to me What is something that Nisei, if they could like get something done on the website, what would they do? And there's a really cool thing, and I can't actually show it here. But if you play a Flesh and Blood event, sorry to keep talking about Flesh and Blood. If you play about a Flesh and Blood event, you register online on their like web page, and then you actually report all your rounds into the app on the website, and then you can see all your history, and it gives you a score, and it's actually really cool. It's a really nice like web server, so that you don't have to go to the judge. You can report through there. You can see all your past opponents. You can see your scores, and it's really nice. Nisei has basically taken over Cobra for a while now, and that's what a lot of people are using to run events. And now they've added the ability to self-register. So if you're setting up an event, you can do self-registration, so people can actually like log on themselves and say, this is my name, this is my corp ID, this is runner ID. So it's a bit easier to register, which is quite nice. Basically, anytime I've done a Cobra AI event, the tournament organizer says, you know, hey, you haven't registered, and they ask you, what are you playing? What are you playing? What's your name? And they put it on their computer. But now you can do it from a distance, which is pretty cool. Another newbie here, Adam. I've got to run, but this is so cool. Thanks so much. See you next time. Hey, enjoy the rest of your week. Glad you can make it. I went 6-3, which puts me roughly into the top 150 players in the America's time zone. Well done. That seems pretty good. Terraria is a really fun game, though. Reporting on the app because you don't want to talk to the judge is like pink antisocial card gaming. Well, I don't know if it's that. I don't think it's because you don't want to talk to the judge, but sometimes it's just easier. Some people like also don't want to say what they're playing, maybe because there's some secrecy in that. I'm not sure, but like it's cool. It's definitely cool. Self-reporting, I think, would be pretty important instead of self-registration as well, that you could on your phone after the game is over plug in your results, and as long as you have the same results as your partner is also put in, then the judge can like confirm it, and I think that'd be good too. Reporting on the app is also way faster. Yeah, it's a cool website for sure. I know Netrunner is way more complicated to write tournament software and pairings for, but I was genuinely surprised to find out that it doesn't support corp runner splits. What do you mean? I think it does. Oh, registering the app is way faster. Excuse me, not reporting. Yes. The other thing, this got posted today. Producing Nisei May 2022 update from Chris. And Chris shows, this is their, I don't know if this is Trello. I don't actually know what this is. But I'm going to move my face over here because this is more important. But this is a timeline of what's happening. It's kind of hard to see. Hopefully you're watching on mobile. But things that are really important if you want to look at this right now is that we're here, May 19th, basically in the middle of the screen. We're right here. And the cool things that are really exciting is this side. If you look at July 25th, the new set, mind you, we're talking about Midnight Sun, the 65 cards, are live on Netrunner DB as of the 25th of July. And set live on JNet on the 25th of July. And set is released on the 25th of July. So that's really cool. Nisei has basically said Midnight Sun will be coming out later this summer. They haven't confirmed a date. This is by no way a date confirmation. Mind you, Make Playing Cards and Drive-Thru should be ready on the 25th. But this is what things are looking like right now. Obviously, that may shift around, but that's really cool. So if you want a new big Netrunner set, we're only about 2 months away. Wait, hold on. Yeah, 2 months away, give or take. So that's fantastic. Yo, Alec, how's it going? After somebody made an honest mistake last time I had self-reporting, I'm kind of leery of them. I would not self-report without checking between each round. You definitely want to check before you start your next round. So that's really cool. So they're talking about how they're working on their art briefs right now. There's like some percentage of people that have their art out. They're in conversations. Some people on WIP, some people on final things. And they've also shown one piece of art from Bruno Belixa. It's kind of Enigma-esque, and it looks like someone's doing a cat's cradle with multiple hands. I like this art a fair bit. Kind of looks like an ice. I'm assuming it's an ice. I like the colors as well. But hey, we have something coming up pretty soon. It's just going to be in 2 months. In 2 months means like spoiler season. And again, I haven't heard anything from Nisei. I would only tell you if Nisei tells me. I can tell you if they do talk to me. But that means we should be hearing about like new stuff like in a month, because they generally spoil things about a month ahead of it and start putting out articles and start doing spoilers. So the art of the set has been so good. It's been really cool so far. All the stuff that we've seen on the full arts, and then this, and then I don't know if there's any other art we've seen so far. Also, if you click on this thing, like Nisei didn't slip up. This image is not named something. Sometimes they put the name in like the image itself. It's just called watermark spoiler. So they're not going to let us have anything here. Let the ARG experiment start. No way, that's definitely going to be something that messes with ice, you think? Oh, maybe you're onto something here. Yeah, maybe it's because it catches like the enigma that it is a program that deals with ice. That's really neat. That's a good way of looking at it, yeah. Okay. Self-reporting would be really good for running leagues. Oh yeah, I believe that. I think if you added self-reporting or matches your opponent or a judge would have to verify. Yes, that's generally how it works for most self-reporting. We've been talking about that on GLC. The conundrum in the image is ensnared. Is that actually what conundrum looks like? Like that's nobody plays this ice, but that's the older enigma. I guess so. It's similar. Doesn't exactly have like the Ankh looking face, but like the Enigma and the Conundrum, especially the Nisei Enigma, they all kind of look like that. Yeah, close enough. Not looking forward to rebuilding my dozen or so standard decks post rotation. Yeah, it comes with the rotation. And we've said this every time a new set comes out, that rotation is sometimes as important or as exciting or has a bigger impact on the meta than new cards themselves. Like imagine some staples rotate. It doesn't really matter what's the new cards, you still have to fill the slots. So sometimes even just old cards start to take those spots because they're no longer pushed out by not being the 45th best card or whatever. What do you think is the most underrated card at the moment? Scrub? That's a really hard question. It's a very difficult question, but I do think Seamless Launch. It's weird because I don't think anyone underrates this, but nobody plays this. Like, not enough people play this out of faction. You can play this in every faction. Like, Jinteki can do really well with Seamless Launch. NBN can do fantastic, really aggressive stuff with Seamless Launch. Like, Seamless Launch into a 3-2 or 3-1 that gives a tag. Exchange of information. Like, that's incredible. HB obviously is playing Seamless Launch. Weyland isn't playing as much. And I think they still can. I don't think it's as necessary, but I think Seamless Launch is very, very playable. I would consider putting 3 of them in basically any deck right now. So good. Big Enigma. I started Conundrum and decks as Turtle Hate. It's just the issue with Conundrum. Like, it cost 8. It's obviously good Turtle Hate, but like at 8 credits, like, you know what's the Turtle Hate? Anansi. Do you know what's Turtle Hate? IP block for 1 influence, you know? All excellent. Frisbee, how's it going? It's nice to just drop down on archives just in case. Yeah, I don't know. I've never played this one. Vlad and Seamless. Yeah, Giles. I played Seamless in the Vlad deck I played at the Story Championships, and it gives you so much flexibility. You can fast advance 3-2s with a Vlad and a Seamless, as long as the Vlad's been on the table. What do you think the most impactful rotations will be? That's a good question. Let's check. It's a really good question. What was rotating? What's rotating? Mumbed? Just Mumbed? Data and Destiny isn't rotating, right? Sanjay, how's it going? I gotta get some Jez games in before she decides she's tired of all the politicians. She's back. Wait, she's in Mumbad. You're right. Oh, and of course, Order and Chaos. Okay, let's look at what I think is really important that's rotating. We're gonna do full cards, and we'll just talk about the stuff that's, of course, the most. Yeah, Order and Chaos is rotating too. Thank you. How are you doing, Sanjay? Okay, cards that matter that rotate. Let's do. Well, I'm gonna do this. It's hard to do images only because then my face has no good place to be. Yeah, we can do this. Okay, cards that are important that are rotating. Assembly line's okay. Lakshmi's okay. Jeeves is a really big deal. Jeeves is honestly a really big deal. It is a win condition for HB decks. It shows up in a lot of acid decks. It's kind of important. No. Heavens no. Bioethics and political dealing technically are the backbone of like wide acid decks in Jinteki, but it's not really a well-represented thing. Ball and rotating, it's interesting. Jinteki is not very well represented now, but it's like, it's fine. It's good. None of this. Voter intimidation abstractly represents a problem solver in decks that do need problems to be solved. You can still do it with things like there's an ice that lets you trash assets, but this is, or resources, excuse me. This is really important. No. Salam's exchange of information is the best tag punishment in the game. Once this rotates, single tag punishment is not that big. It's just not that big of a deal. You could float a single tag. All Seeing Eye is the worst at that point, but nobody plays it. I think Salam's Hospitality is like technically one of those release switch cards that exist in the format, but not that people are playing it. Oh, Sadakai, that's the name. Did I pass over Brainstorm? Rip the decks that made Andre guilty as he chose to build them anyways? Yeah, tell me about it. Commercial Banker Group, that's a really big deal. This is the highest payoff for an asset you can put on the table for 2 influence. The whole political thing is a big deal. I think another big Weyland asset rotates if I'm not. Oh, no, it doesn't. Doesn't Dedication or something rotate? We'll see it. No, none of this matters. None of the Dedication is a really, really big deal. Dedication is such a strong card. It represents one of the most powerful tools in Weyland Fast Advance with Dedication into Reconstruction Contract. Losing that means Reconstruction Contract is largely unplayable and just becomes a dead card. And that is a card that has nearly won Worlds, if not won Worlds a couple times over. So it's a really big deal. Consulting Visit is also kind of a big deal. It's less important as it used to be, but it's having it as a toolbox is really wild. It's kind of like surprising to me that Nisei released a Consulting Visit alt art, considering it's rotating in the latest set that they put out, considering it's rotating. So I don't know if Nisei has plans to get this back in, but an alt art Consulting Visit was just released in the last pack, so this makes sense. Yeah, this had its day. David, you said Judge. Judge is a thing that doesn't see play. At some point it was powerful, but at this point, nobody really considers it. Mumba Temple. kind of a big card again, asset support. Okay, we're looking at runner stuff. Oh, Mumbet Virtual Tour. It's wild. I think Mumbet Virtual Tours largely will get replaced by Prysac. In a lot of ways, I actually do prefer Prysac. The corp actually has to pay something, so it's a bit less volatile in the early game. But yeah. Is Judge actually banned right now? I didn't realize Judge was banned. Yeah, did he Rococo won Worlds? Yes, yeah. So it did. It was like 3 years ago, whatever. Oh, I forgot the Judge is banned. I thought it's like either Judge or CU is banned. I guess Judge is banned, so it is good. Vanilla rotating, that's fine. People don't actually play a lot of vanilla. Okay, Anarch cards. Slums, I guess. Bagat, I think we're sad that it's going more than people see play. Good riddance, vanilla. Okay, I get really sad when Spy Camera leaves. Like, legitimately will be upset. Let's not talk about it. Same with Tech Trader. Really will be sad. Political Operative, like we have now, like the Fire, which is the closest thing to it. But I just love a card like this that just has its own meta. Like a single card has its own meta. Like, how do you play around this single card, and the threat of the card changes the entire game state? I think this is so important. Black File. Okay, Out of the Ashes rotating is actually a really big deal with Deep Dive. The decks that we're seeing recently are going to be totally different about this. Oh, did I miss Fear the Masses? I guess that's a big thing to some people. There will always be Solomir's vanilla cake in our heart. How's it going, Phil? Okay, what else? This is a big deal for Sanjay. Artist Colony used to be a big deal, but since we've lost Fansite, not really things. Some people like Brahmin. Turning Wheel. Wow. Yeah, Turning Wheel. That's a thing. Rebirth is a big thing. Another card that Nisei recently put out. Alterates. Sports Hopper. It's a niche thing, whatever. The sort of decks I play. I did not realize Bazaar is in meta. Councilman's also really cool, but I think the biggest neutral rotates are definitely Rebirth and Turning Wheel. Again, none of these cards are going to have a huge impact on like what's unplayable. Like, it's not like Valencia is unplayable without Rebirth. It means Anarchs are going to get a fair bit worse. They're the ones that honestly always play Rebirth and then just Rebirth into Omar, and it's very, very strong. So we're going to see less of that for sure. Run Amok is another ice destruction that's leaving, which is nice. I haven't really seen anyone play Run Amok, but you're right. I guess Guru Divinity, but like not competitively. But it's like a very, very powerful card for a single-minded use. Yeah, criminals are going to need to do something. Like, criminals are going to have to be more proactive. And when Turning Wheel came out, we loved the idea of Turning Wheel, because Turning Wheel provided like, hey, if you're not doing something, I can end the game, right? Like if the Corp Dirtles, you can just like run Jack out, 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 and get Turning Wheel tokens so that you can end the game. What I haven't liked is a lot of the like modern Steve decks that are just basically play a Turning Wheel and then slowly build up and camp everything and poke and then end the game. The Synchronous described them as being a plotting deck, and I agree with that. It's kind of boring and takes a while. It's not that very fun. But it's yeah, it's gonna be interesting because this is the only like really strong neutral multi-axis. Whether everyone's gonna start playing Jailbreak, who knows? Maybe I think that's the sort of design that Nisei is building more towards, of something more explosive, something more punchy. It's like the perfect limit one design. I don't love limit one design, I'll be honest. Especially with such a powerful effect. If it was like a one-time thing, not like, did you find the card, your entire game is different, as opposed to, did you find the card, you can do something flashy once? No, this is like your entire game is different. The difference between Valencia getting her Rebirth and opening hand and Rebirth in the bottom of the deck is night and day. Like, it's undescribably big of a difference. Really don't like Rebirth as a 1 merf per deck thing. I think Order and Chaos has some big changes. Hey Dave, with Val and Max leaving, Rebirth may not be as necessary for Anarch. Oh, that's true, actually. I forgot that Val's leaving as well. That's true. Yeah, Anarchs would still play it. Like, most Anarchs would still play it, just because paying 1 influence to become Omar is worth it. 1 influence. Especially for free. Like, you'd play it in Hoshiko, you'd play it in, what's his name? The Lu. I still think it's good. But you're right, Val and Max are like the best ones who can play it as well. I don't think Argus is really good. Gagarin is really good, but it was kind of brought back in the meta for like a short period of time, so I don't think we're going to worry about it that long. None of this is really good. Generally, HB Weyland stuff is, excuse me, not very good. This is all quite bad. You want to Rebirth into Omar almost always? Yeah, totally. Omar as an ID might get a little resurgence. I don't know. I'd be surprised. None of this matters. CVS matters. CVS actually really does matter, because this is the only way that the corpse can deal with Clot at instant speed. There's nothing else. I wonder if that's something that's going to be addressed with Midnight Sun, but there's no way to deal with Clot. Am I missing something? There's no way to actively deal with Clot, let alone there's no way to clicklessly deal with Amaku and build up traps. And a card like this is actually quite good for the game. It's very, very quite good for the game because it allows you to be like, oh, it allows you to have these like surprise plays. Like it has you the riposte. Like if you've never seen someone run into an archer with Amaku and you res the Cyberdex Fire Suite, like that is something that you've planned and built into. Like that's so good. Hoshiko's a good point. Very late Hoshiko where you spend credits but don't get cards. Yeah, Hoshiko has no deck. It's a bit awkward. All three of Order, Chaos Corps have been meta deck at some point. Yeah, they've all been quite good. On the Anarch side, Edward Kim, nobody really rebirths into this, but Edward Kim technically was a rebirth target for a while. Max and Valencia. Valencia, mind you, if you've been playing only for the last year or so, Valencia used to be the deck for a long time. It used to go, Anarchs used to go Wizard, Valencia for a really long time, and then now we're at a modern way with like Max and everything else. Bionic reversed infection, obviously. My null deck keeps rebirthing into Quetzal because it's hard to draw the Fractor when you're not Hoshiko. Uh-oh. You can deal with Clot for 1 click, but I don't think 0. Yeah, you can't deal it for 0. For 1 click, you have like reversed infection, but that's it. And that's a 1 influence card. That's bad. It's a bad card. Max going is a really big deal. Amped up, technically a big deal for Apocalypse decks. Now Anarchs have way less ways to deal with Apocalypse, but these are, Max is like one of the best Apocalypse decks anyways. I've Had Worse is such a big deal, and I'm so sad about this. I really like the design of I've Had Worse. I really like the idea that it's a card that has value from somewhere else, but is still playable. It's just a really cool design. I wish there was more cards like that, like the pseudo networking cards that like their existence existed somewhere and that matters. But this is a 3 of in every Anarch deck, and it has been in every Anarch deck since the day Order and Chaos came out. There's just like no reason to it. Paying 1 credit for Diesel and have defense, have proactive draw when you're face checking into Anansi on turn 1. Like it's such a big deal. And every time there's been a rotation, Anarch has been losing more and more draw and hasn't been gaining enough draw back. Right now, what's like good Anarch draw, like, quote unquote, like 0 and like moshing. And like a lot of people don't even play those cards anymore. I would bet there's an I've Had Worse like getting printed at the new set to replace it, unless we already know the new set. No, we don't know the new set at all. We've only seen 1 Anarch card from it, and it's Light the Fire. Nietzsche should stop for print I've Had Worse and call it Steel Skin. Hey, classic. I'm interested to know, because is Nisei meant to put out a new core set this year or next year? Like, there's a chance this stuff could come back in System Update or whatever. Or it's not System Update. What do they call it? Yeah, System Update, right? 2023? Rebirth gets slightly stronger because people won't accidentally rebirth into Kim now. So we'll have to see if that balances the negative ways in which rotation affects it. Yeah. I think Update was meant to be every 2nd year, and we had one last year. Okay. I don't think I said hi, Frank. Nisei said core sets are whenever they feel like it. Okay, so they obviously aren't doing one this year, I guess is the assumption. I wonder how much Nisei takes into account what's leaving when they're designing the next cards. Oh, 100% they're taking it into account entirely, because there's no other way to test the cards. So 100% they've been testing these cards with everything leaving. In the Sensei, how's it going? Wanton leaving. Wanton leaving is a really big deal. It is such a fun card. It's an exciting card. This is one of my favorite Netrunner cards. Because when I started playing competitively, that's when you started playing Eater Max, and this is your HQ pressure on top of a Count Siphon, and it's just really fun, and it's a powerful effect, and it's interesting. It's a great card. Day Job, not as good, but love it. Everyone loves it. Cutlery is not very popular. Technically, with this rotating and Max rotating, it kind of falls to the same part, but like this sort of like very easy destruction is gone. Eater is gone, but no one really has played Eater in the last couple of years. This is sad. I love these like alternate win conditions, if you want to call it that, at a really weak kind of thing. Hive Mind is the backbone of the big virus Max decks with Progenitor as well. Those are obviously rotating as alongside Max, but this is a really big deal in terms of like what can you do with viruses. Yeah, I guess Archives interface. Chopbot makes Apex really sad. Now there's no powerful card you're happy to have in your opening hand of Apex. Everything else here, quite bad. It's weird. Like, this is something that you see less and less, especially with the new Nisei sets. Like, if you look at these cards and you look at the Nisei cards for the latest sets, and of course, these came with, like, you know, an extra 6 years of Netrunner development and knowledge. Out of these cards, what is playable is by far, like, maybe 20%. I think 20% of these cards are playable, maybe even less. I think on the Weyland side, it's like 10%. So while the rotation doesn't hit a lot of things, the things that it hits, the really strong stuff, are really, really important. So like the idea that Anarch loses like a handful of good cards, especially the ones that are not niche, right? Like that's going to have a huge impact that you're going to feel it. But the majority of stuff, not that important. I guess Sunny will miss. I don't even think a lot of Sunnies should be playing data folding. Yeah, you're right. Like that's the only deck that really plays it, but I don't think it's a big deal. So we're going to play Eater Max one next time now that Light the Fire lets you contest remotes. That's a good point. We should consider that. Yeah, you're right. So Nisei's big box philosophy is quite different than FFG's, right? FFG concentrated on 2 factions, but Nisei's trying to cover all. That means it might be some time before Anarch recovers from this hit, right? Well, I don't know, because I do think it's the same way. Like, this represents a huge breadth of Anarch cards, but the amount of them that are actively seeing play is so small that if Nisei just puts out about 7 to 8 good Anarch cards, it's going to have about the same amount of like repair. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, all of this can be replaced with a fraction of the cards. No Quanju. Oh no. Maybe if Archive's interface also lets you to choose not to access cards and or was cheaper. Will make Gachapon harder to run? Well, Frank. Sunny hit by data folding, turning wheel, and sports hopper leaving. Yeah, that's true. There's a lot that's leaving. But I think Sunny as a whole is eventually gonna fall apart. She rotates soon enough. Anyways, that's what rotation looks like. I don't think it's that severe. There are some big staples. I'm the most sad because like Tech Trader and all the support leaves, and I'll find any excuse to play that stuff. I guess that's true, but the other factions should be gaining the same number of new playable cards, so relatively. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, sort of. Kind of. But I don't think of it like that. Like, I don't look at it and think like Anarch needs 8 more good cards to be on par with like Criminal's 6 good cards. I just don't think it works like that. I think you just need enough good cards. It's not like, like it seems like it would wind up like that, or like we're just short a couple good cards, but I don't think it really does. Like if Anarch has a playable deck, they have a playable deck. Maybe it won't be as flexible as Criminal if they have more playable good cards. But I'm interested to see how Nisei designed things, because Nisei's like first sets, they had to be like pretty basic. Like System Gateway obviously had to have a lot of fundamentals. There had to be like a lot of like pretty simple cards, just so people who could play that could play Netrunner, and then that would be a building block of things. Like you saw really simple stuff, but now on I think things are going to be a bit more interesting and more nuanced. Like it's the difference between Begalter and Revolver to some extent, if you know what I mean. As a post-Nisei player, it's interesting to see cards that I've never played with in these sets. Yeah, it's like, it's weird. Like, you might be looking back at this like, oh man, showing off. Nobody, like, it's been around for years. Nobody's figured this out. Everyone understands how this is playable, but like, no, like, it's hard. Some of the stuff is really not good. At least on competitive levels. Like, Liberate Chela is fun, but it's not good. It's really fun, though. Most of the power cards are already established. Other factions can get all the new cards they want. Yo, that's true too. Yeah. The card pool is shrinking so much faster than it's growing, and it's really leading to not feeling like there's that many options. Raketha, again, like I do hear you, because numerically that lines up. Because we are losing way more cards than we're gaining. We're losing 120 plus a deluxe, which is like what, 60 cards or something like that. And we're only gaining 65. So the card pool is shrinking, but it seems like the options are, there's just less options. And again, I hope, I'm going to give Nisei the benefit of the doubt that they're going to try and design things so they are flexible. Like, again, I think Revolver is maybe a good enough way of looking at it. Revolver is a playable card in Criminal if you have support for it, but it's also huge in Shaper. Again, you're going to need support for it. But the idea is that they can print a card that works in multiple archetypes. That's really exciting for me. That is really, really exciting. And I think we need to see more of that where they force you, they're really good, but if you build in a certain direction and have some flexibility based off of that. But when it comes to like 120 cards leaving and only 60 coming back in, or whatever the numbers look like, again, I just want to point you at this page, or more accurately, like point you at this page is pretty egregious. No, none of this matters. None of this matters, right? Like, half of this whole box could go overnight and no one could tell you, and you wake up in the morning and you go play on JNet for like 3 weeks and you'd be like, wait, I haven't seen an Orion in a year, and someone tells you it rotated on a Thursday. You'd be like, wait, what? Like, you would not know, right? How can none of this matter while covering Space Camp? Oh, little kid is going so far. Space Camp is the last archive trap? Yeah, I think, no. Technically, the last archive trap is a Nisei card that allows you to remove a bad publicity or take a tag, if I think. I don't know what that card's called. It's one of these. It has art that looks like sand or something. Somebody will know the name. Oh, News Team is also too. No, but Nisei pointed a trap that fires from archives. I just don't know the name because I've never played it. Improved drop rates, Sanjay. Nailed it. Increased drop rates, Sanjay. Almost nailed it. Yeah, this is the only one, I think. Why were the Weyland cards so underpowered? They could have tweaked the numbers and made so many of those cards more interesting. Yeah, in the Sensi. In retrospect, I think in hindsight, it's very easy to say what's bad and what's good. The thing is also, like, it's important to know that a lot of cards are not designed to all be playable on top tier, like on competitive Netrunner. It's really easy to see if you're looking at old Netrunner, like how bad Weyland stuff was. Like, people thought this was good. The idea that you can advance ice and it's free, that's a huge amount of money. It's like a credit a turn. But then the question is, like, everything that this is based off of, fundamentally, the understanding of the game based around this is wrong, right? Like, if you look at all these, obviously, I'm going to cherry pick the worst stuff, right? But, like, stuff like this is really quite, this is not the worst of the advanceable ice. I forget the worst one's called, but like, there was just like a misunderstanding of how advanceable ice was going to work and what sort of things they were going to like, I don't know. Not all of it was bad, but like most of the advanceable ice that needs to be advanced is going to be bad because that's expensive and hard to deal with. And there was ice destruction at the time. Salvage is the worst one. Oh, salvage is like comical bad. I've seen people play increased drop rates. I don't think it's good. Yeah, it's just design stuff. It's design. I don't know. Like, you learn a lot from playing the game. Like, it's easy to look at this and like, it's also important to know, right? Like, this is the thing that happens in all game design, is that the meta that can exist internally during playtesting is so much different than the meta that exists externally. Netrunner was such a big game in like 2014. Like, when this set released that this card was in, more games were played within 1 week than all of the testing combined, right? So it's very simple. It's much faster, especially when people are talking to each other on the internet, for people to come to this like consensus of what works and like, oh, the meta is really fast, so this doesn't make sense. But maybe runners were really slow, and so advancing this 7 times at some point for free every turn with your because we built it makes sense. Yeah, Parasite. Yeah, I don't. Well, let's not get started. Let's not go too deep into that. But like, you know, Weyland had to be balanced around Scorched Earth. Yeah, to some extent too. Weyland was just good on other stuff. I like the Constellation Ice. I liked it too. It wasn't good though. It wasn't competitive. It was. I liked it at the time. The advanceable ice and Order and Chaos seemed amazing. It seemed really cool. It really did seem cool, and you were happy to advance your stuff because every advancement saved you 3 credits, and that seemed good. David came out at some point. Let's not again. The profit motive dictates that they have to sell you a ton of garbage to set some good cards, and they're removing that as Nisei's greatest advantage. Okay, that I think is a bit pessimistic at the expense of Fantasy Flight Games. I do think this is a really big deal, though. That maybe you don't mean it pessimistically. I don't think you do, but Nisei does not have to put stuff out. If Nisei wanted to put on only the best stuff, because they're not motive driven, they don't have any people yelling at them to hit quotas. There's no corporate overlord that needs to reach sales targets, right? Like, they only put out the good stuff when it's ready, when they feel good about it, because they think it's going to do good for Netrunner and for the world. That's a huge thing. Now, that being said, like, Nisei, FFG has to put stuff out, so they're going to misstep. There's interesting stories about balancing, like, we need to change this, but there's not enough time and stuff like that. Or like people saying we need to make this busted so that people will buy more stuff. I don't know if that exists or not on the FFG side. So yes and no. Definitely more yes, but I don't think FFG wants to like really get you bad. Yeah, Wormhole was the best one, Sanjay. You're right. It was pretty legit in Faction Code Gate. Points at Cipher. Yeah, Cipher was like the beginning of that conversation, I guess. Profit motive feels like a bad faith argument for an LCG. Yeah, LCGs are different. Like, you can put out bad cards. And I was going to say this a bit more about Nisei, and I think this is something maybe at the expense of Nisei. But it's important when people make these games, like, it's for everybody, right? Like, we talk a lot about competitive gaming, right? Like, we're trying to play the good stuff generally on this channel, for better or for worse. So like, are we going to end up playing Salvage? No. But there's so many people that play Netrunner for so many reasons. There's probably some people that had the best time playing Netrunner with Salvage. And I think, to my experience, that the majority of stuff that Nisei is doing, this is a really bad criticism because it's not a criticism. And I would probably criticize it if they didn't do this. But it seems like because Nisei is putting out less stuff, the stuff that's targeted is trying to be better stuff in general. Like, overall, everything is better. I still think at this point, and a large part of this, because they had to tackle fundamentals before they can go a bit weirder, is that the stuff Nisei has been putting out has been pretty direct. But it's important to know FFG wants to make cards for everyone. So they want to make cards for the people who are exciting to play casually, as much as they want to make the cards that are good for people who are playing on the Worlds tables. And sometimes there's a card that they know this is not a Worlds card, but someone's going to have a good time with it. With Nisei, it's a bit more difficult because they need to hit the fundamentals because they don't have a big card base and they want their like format to be playable on their own. But I think I would also complain if Nisei put out some weird stuff. It's like, you only put out 60 cards and I don't play with 30 of them. Like, yeah, I feel like they can't win that one. I want to play the bad stuff. Hell yeah, a lot of people do. You got to make a game for everyone. It being an LCG in the first place already meant that they didn't need to print a ton of boring comments that only matter for draft formats. Yes, that's a difference with CCGs. They have to put out bad stuff. So draft is interesting where the power level is lower and you buy more packs. Did you really win if you didn't win with Jank? Izzy, how's it going? You have a good point. And back in the day, we used to play Jank all the time at like G&Ks and do pretty well. I think felt like it got a lot harder around like Mumbad because there's a lot more punishment. It'd be like, oh, you're playing your janky Kaisa deck, hard hitting news, go home. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but they put out something bad. They receive so much internet hate. Yeah, to some extent. I don't know. I feel like Nisei has. Oh man, we were meant to do this Elwyn a year ago. What are we doing? Okay, hold on. I just want to say real quick because this is a nice enough segue so that we can roast myself. As you might know, I've been only doing like contract work, like professionally, so I have a lot more spare time recently. And I've been working on an AI so I can play Netrunner, so that we can win playing System Gateway, and that's been going way slower than I thought it would. I've been putting in a couple hours every other day. I've been meeting with my brother. I'm just trying to get the state kind of machine of playing Netrunner or emulating Netrunner to work before I can even start on the AI. And that's already gonna be a hard enough thing. Another thing I'm doing on the side, and I started this week, is I'm making my own Netrunner set. Because I realized like I want to do more game design stuff. So why I have the time right now, why don't I just put together some ideas, put them on paper, get them digitally made. Nemec put out the card builder, and I will publish them. I will show you as soon as we have a set. I'm trying to put together about 70 cards. I have about 40 that I'm feeling pretty good about, 45. It's been really fun to sit down and just focus on it and get that done. But I'll show you as soon as we can. We'll put out videos and we'll talk about the design stuff. And if you would like to play them, I will have them out on a tabletop simulator mod. I would love to have y'all to play test them and let me get feedback because I want to do a process where we can put out something that we are happy about and that we have the design, we have that sort of thing. Super cool. Hey, glad you're all excited about it. I'm really excited about it. The thing I'm running into right now is that it's not a set that is like mechanically related the same way that FFG began to do. So it's kind of more similar, for better or for worse, to like the spin cycle where it's just a bunch of stuff. I do feel like all the factions have very strong themes so far, at least on the runner side. To give you an idea, what language are you writing your Netrunner bot in? Python. How's it going, by the way, Andrew? To give you an idea so far, I have a Shaper that's a juggler. I have an Anarch that is a roughneck worker, so a lot of like tinkering and building. I want to get a board state based Anarch. The Shaper have programs that are all like props for juggling, and each one does something, but you have to catch them every couple turns, kind of similar to actually how the companions work. And the Criminal is just a con artist, like classic criminal in the very criminal way. On the corp side, not 100% sure what we're nailing. We got to work on it, but the runner stuff is like largely good, needs to do some testing, so it's gonna be good. It's a treasure chest set, yeah, let's say that. Sounds awesome. Looking forward to checking out. Yeah, I'll let y'all know as soon as we get more for that. But this is like something I've been putting way more hours into it than I thought I would, and it's been great. At least it's been fun. The cards might be terrible. The basketball cycle. Hey, yeah, it's a good way of looking into it. I don't know what to call any of this stuff. Off topic, but there's a website where you can design and get printed actual boosters with rarity, and I've been really thinking about making my own draft set. Oh, super neat. Damien used to talk a lot about the fact that he designed for casual players and just wanted to make fun cards. He didn't seem like the type to kiss up the corp and phone it in for profits. Make one ID for each mini faction. I don't think I'm touching mini factions. I definitely am not touching mini factions. Advanceable ice for Weyland. All right, there is advanceable ice for Weyland that's been created. Elwyn, I don't know if you're around. I just want to look at this. Maybe you'll see this in the VOD, but we're talking about a Jinteki, a spiky deck. That means a lot of things to a lot of people. This looks like it's a deck that can hurt you, but it's not like a trap deck that's trying to like end you. So it actually has like a scoring plan. To some extent, like these sort of decks get a bit weird because a lot of people would just want to do like sit back, I'm gonna like poke you to death, like 1,000 cuts kind of Jinteki, or you don't see as much as something in between. I think you can do it. No data loop, I'm out. My day job really trying to get computers to find planets for me. Totally feel you in terms of thinking longer than you thought they should. That seems like a hard thing to do. Damn. Sunny's alternate ID can be a janitor that works for GlobalSec. GlobalSec, there's a lot to do in GlobalSec. Okay, so the idea is we have to score out. Our agenda suite immediately looks very strange because anytime that you put together a deck, you want to look at your agendas and you want to see how many of these agendas you need to score out to try and win. So looking at this number, like Obokata Protocol, if we want to score this, it gets us to 3 points. We only have 3 4-2s. So say we score one of those, that's 2 points. And then we have to score 2 1-3s. That's very quite difficult. So if we're actually trying to win by scoring out, this is probably a pretty awkward setup to some extent. It's hard to like look at this. You're also playing one more agenda than you need to. You could actually go down to 20 and get a slot back. So, yeah, you could maybe, I don't have good advice about this, but like you just want to figure out what your scoring pattern is because this seems like it's going to be quite expensive. Phil, I love the juggling program. Sounds good. Oh man, it's something I want to do for such a long time. The problem is there's literally too much text on a card. I'll be excited to show you when I have like a thing to show you, but there's just too much text on the card that it fundamentally doesn't work. Because I want to have these, so you have to pick a server. They have to get a counter when they're installed, and every turn, if there's more 3 counters on at the end of your turn, you have to trash them. And then when you make a successful run, you have to take all the tokens off, and the card has to do something. It's just way too much text. I don't know what to do. Exactly. If it had like a Magic the Gathering-esque keyword, this would be very easy, but that's like against the ethos of Netrunner. Ugh. But like, it's a problem. Like trying to get an icebreaker that works with power counters, that increases power counters, that clears power counters when you make a successful run, and have it in the actual like playable wording of a Netrunner card is so difficult. Okay. Let's look back at this. Assets. We have 3 Spin Doctors, 2 Urtica Cypher, Snare, and NGO Front. I don't like Urtica Cypher as a card in these sort of decks. You're going pretty fast. You have Seamless Launch and you have Shipment from Tenon, so you don't actually have a lot of reason to go install Advanced in a remote server. And if you do install Advanced, it's like really easy to understate how expensive install Advanced is. Install Advanced is so massively expensive. And what happens if they run an Urtica Cypher and takes 4 damage? Maybe you have a window next turn to score an Obokata Protocol. Sure, that's fair. If that's the case though, you could just have a Snare. You could have like maybe, I don't know, face check off of an ice, like playing things like Data Ward as an issue, a Data Loop is a thing, you know, playing Anemones, more of those, that could do it. But that's incredibly expensive, and if they don't run it, you do not have a game plan, because this is the sort of deck that would score out behind ice. And if you don't have a lot of ice in this deck, actually this deck has way too little ice for what seems to be scoring in a remote server, but we only have 11 ice. So if you're installing Advanced in a remote server and they don't run it for a turn, like you have to throw that out. You've lost a whole turn and a lot of money, so that's a bit difficult. You're also not running Rashido, which Rashido is quite good, especially in a deck where you have so many 1/3s and the threat of Seamless Launch. That like you kind of want to play Rashido because it's just that good. But that's a Rashido issue. In terms of economy, it's a bit light. Some very expensive ice like Chiashi, a DNA Tracker, 2 Anansi is going to bring the average res cost of your ice up a fair bit. You're going to be around like 4 to 6 credits, and I feel like the money in here is not enough. Hokusai Price Deck, also a lot of upgrades. These are really good to jam in the remote server for sure. Some of these are going to be a bit expensive. Okay, so I guess to keep it really quick, yeah, use Data Loop. Yeah, Data Loop is obviously very good, but yeah, those sort of decks that run Data Loop generally run also like another punishment card, like Punitive, to end the game. So I think I don't have a good understanding whether this deck wants to go like horizontal and just like play a lot of traps and not ice them and only ice centrals, or whether you want to build a remote and jam into it. Build a remote and jam into it is like very doable. You have so many 3/1s that they can't tell if they have to run them or not. You have so many 4/2s with Seamless Launch. That's pretty scary. So you generally want to keep something on the table every turn, but if you want to do that, you want to keep it largely behind ice. So I feel like you want to ice of the remote server and put things into that server as well. I feel like these sort of like upgrades, like Hokusai and Price Deck, are like, they're neat. They're good, but they don't actually do too much to your game plan, if you know what I mean. Like if you had something like Punitive to back that up, I could see it. But like if they run the remote server, steal like a viral weaponization and take a damage to Hokusai, like that's fine. They can still play next turn. Like it doesn't really do much for you, if you know what I mean. Oh, Ellen, fantastic, you're here. I don't know what I want to do. Yeah, I feel like you want to commit to one of them because it feels like you built half a Glacier deck and then on top of it, like half of another sort of like a trap deck. Now, this sort of shell is actually like really quite cool, that if you want to play like Seamless Launch and Shipment from Tenon to really force them to run, and if they don't run, like you can score out. I feel like if you want to do that, you want to just cut like a lot of these 3/1s and just make them 3/2s, like Longevity Serum, Shipment from Yu-Gi-Oh, like, or whatever it's called, Yagi Uda. Like you just want to do that and then just get the game point fast enough. Because actually that's one of the best things you can do with these sort of decks is like get to game point fast enough where the runner has to start running more actively and has to hit your traps. Like if you're on 5 game point and then you put a snare in the remote server, they have to consider running it if they know you have a Seamless in hand, right? And that might actually play more into what you want to do. Hey Kat, how's it going? I'm doing good. I'm doing pretty good. How are you? How's work? Has it been getting a bit easier? Hurt the runner and score out when the hand is dead. Scoring out when the hand is dead is like technically possible. The thing is like the ice doesn't hurt that much. Like if they can break this ice, you have to not think about your ice as this ice is the subroutines are going to fire. So the idea is like for you to score out, the only card that you're really threatening to score out is an Obokata Protocol, because anything else they can steal. You know what I mean? Work is going. Okay, good to hear. Good to hear. I had some friends come up last weekend from New York. It's good to see the gang. I think a lot of people call it Shipment from Yu-Gi-Oh! What have you. Please, Nisei, print that card. Also, thanks for stream. Ian, of course. I feel like Schmendrix, I'm glad you like this deck building breakdown. I'm worried that this seems a bit too scattered, but I think that's kind of a response to this deck. You want to have a good understanding of how you're going to win. So one of the big things is understand which agendas you want to score out, understand what that game plan looks like, and then kind of start there. I feel like, again, we have feet in two different camps. We want to have a trap deck where we install an advanced Antarctica cipher behind like ice or without ice. But that doesn't work when you're trying to like also score agendas on the table. It's really also important to know, just like in terms of the game, what certain unadvanced cards and advanced cards mean for runners for traps. So when it comes to unadvanced cards, where if you're installing an unadvanced card in a remote server every turn, the biggest threat right now is snare. The runner has to worry, is that a snare? And if that's a snare, does that mean next turn they can score out a Obokata? There's a chance that that's true. As soon as you advance cards, then the list of things that it can be gets a lot harder. Now that's more expensive. It's an Urtica Cipher, it's a Cerebral Overrider. The game is totally different. And once you do brain damage to people, then it's harder for them to interact with your deck, and you can run into things a bit harder or more difficult. That fell apart. Please tear it apart and make this a learning moment. Yeah, sorry, I still feel like we got a bit scattered here, but I think there's one or two things you want to do here. I think searching shipment from Tenon, like I think we can see like what other decks look like that do this. I would be, if you want to go fast and have damage that does scare runners, I would be very interested in cutting out a lot of these 3-1 agendas that are like cute. They're cute, but just trying to get the game point faster to force the issue that runner has to interact with you sooner. Run more 3-2s because you have good ways to score them out. Maybe play another shipment from Tenon, and then you want your ice to be as spiky as possible. So 3 Kakugo is good. You do 2 anemones is nice. The trash cards from this might actually conflict with your what's it called? Your Hansei reviews. Maybe you do want Rashidas in there just to draw a bit faster. But you just want to make it unpleasant for them to run so you can score from hand. When you score from hand, make it matter. Get to game point. Play some 3-2s, get some slot backs. As a Sun Twist, Andre disregards Ganked. You could play Ganked in here. It's good. Another thing is the money to this deck is not anywhere near where you need it to be, I don't think. Especially for the higher end of the ice. Like if you open up your opening hands of Chiashi and Nancy, what do you do turn 1? Lacosta can also be used to pressure the runner to checking their mode. Yeah, Lacosta's pretty good. I feel like Lacosta might be a bit like redundant with seamless launch and shipment from Tenon. It might be redundant, but it's definitely an option. I'm glad that you're not playing like Ben. What's his name? Ben, the upgrade Ben. Not a good card. I really like this sort of thing as well as the game replay feedback stuff you did that time. Oh, cool. Musashi. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Musashi's bad. Don't play Musashi. Never play Musashi. Musashi doesn't make any sense. Okay. I can give you an idea because we actually saw, like, I remember casting at a Worlds where somebody was playing a really cool Plana deck that had even like Biotic Labor in it, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe this is going to be wild. Maybe we're not actually going to find something here. But I was fascinated with the archetype where it was like, this is a Plana that if you run, you're going to get hurt. But if you don't go fast, they're going to score out. Musashi and Obo. Musashi's so much worse than Prizek or Hokusai. Okay, look. Musashi. Musashi's just not good. Musashi, 1 for 3. Okay. So it's a bit worse than Prizek. Prizek you have to pay for credit, but it says each time the runner accesses an agenda from the server, they must suffer 2 net damage as an additional cost to steal it. So it literally does nothing. It basically says if you want it, you can choose. You can opt into stealing this. You don't have to steal this, right? It also doesn't do anything on central servers unless they're also accessing an agenda. So basically you're giving the runner the opportunity to take net damage. Compare that to something as simple as Hokusai Grid, which is 1 credit more to res, 1 credit more to trash, and it just doesn't net damage. It doesn't care. So it doesn't give them an option to be like, no, I don't want to steal this. Thank you. You know, but look at that sick coat. I hear you. This is a low quality image, but yeah. Unless you have net damage taxing guys in theory, but if you have net damage guys, Hokusai can sometimes win the game, right? Like if they hit a Hokusai and a price, like you win. And it was like, here's 2 net damage and then in the meat. Not, I'm going to give you the option. And then with these cards, it's like sick. They put a Stargate, put this on R&D. Like it does something. Musashi's awful. Don't play Musashi. Okay. Yeah. These are the sort of things. These are going to have a bit more loop in it. This is the deck I remember watching our Worlds. And I remember really liking this. So the idea with this deck, it ran these spiky traps. So people had to have cards in hand when they're running centrals. They could not go fast and just hammer. They couldn't just run R&D and go wild because they'd be hit by Breach Dome, which mind you was a trap back in the day, and 2 snares. And then from there, this deck had very fast advance tools. You're not running? Shipment from Tenon. I'm going to score out all the 3-2s from a game. So they had Medical Breakthrough, which we don't have, but we have Philotic Entanglement, which is now Longevity Serum. It's a worse card. And Brain Trust, which is our Yagi Uda. And then we had Biotic Labor. So that's the idea. You're basically very focused. You're like, I'm going to ice up centrals. Okay. We have all the spiky ice you'd want. Kakugo and Nancy, DNA Tracker, Aiki, something cheap close to the ground. IP block, something cheap and annoying. And you're basically saying, if you don't run, I shipment from Tenon. Sometimes I Biotic Labor. If you do run, you have to deal with all the scary ice and you have to deal with snares and breach domes. This is great. It's great. Ben is a draft format card. Not even. I don't even think so. I would not draft Ben. I would not. Ben is not even a draft format card because for Ben to be like even worth considering in your deck, you need like support. So like, good luck drafting a card. Drafting where this is worth. Stop it, Ben. Best thing about Ben is that Ben is like a continuation of the good art from dedicated servers. What is that cool Jinteki card that was really bad? Ben is not. Ben is a terrible draft format card. Do not draft this. Random net damage doesn't make sense in draft. What is there's like a really nice card that just shows this garden that came out in like the first 2 cycles. Nobody played it. It has recurring credits on it. If somebody knows it, I'll search it. Otherwise, it's fine. Face down upgrades and face down ice is way, way, way better than draft. Yeah, but any face down upgrade is better than Ben, right? It is dedicated servers. Did it just not show up? Dedicated server? Yeah, that's it. Okay, good ice. Okay, single. Yeah, best thing is we get to see more of this place. This place is really cool. I like this. I said fodder. Anything is fodder. It's the trashiest Aesop's Pawn Shop thing. Elwin, that is my 2 cents on here. Sorry if that was a bit scattered. Maybe we can get a bit more focused response at some point. But that's what I would definitely focus on. Like figure out how you want to score it. Figure out what your game plan is. Because just putting together enough net damage cards and be like, oh, I really hope this works out. Generally doesn't. And it allows the runner so much time to like kind of get the rig together. Technically, 90% of the Mumbit cycle, Andre glossed over his fodder. It's like 70%. All right. It's what? It's 10:30. Get out. Okay, so I want to talk about Weyland Fast Events. Because Weyland Fast Events is quite good right now. We've already played some Weyland today. Why not play some more Weyland? And I want to talk about the sort of Weyland Fast Events you can do. So there's 2 decks I want to look up. One of them, I'm just going to search 42. That's going to get there. The Diogenes Special. The answer is 42 because I played against this and this can go quite fast. And the other one I want to bring attention to is, I don't know what it is, but it's the one Maddie played this at the store championship. Cards used. We'll get here. So is the outfit. Oh, you do see that annoying last pass pop up. I thought that was just going to be my secret pleasure. It also had biotic labor. Hard hitting. Please stop. I've been waiting for you to review the gifts. What I take away, more tight agenda suite, get rid of the cute net damage stuff, agendas, run ice that deals damage instead, get Rashida in there. I think that's good smart, a good place. Maybe play another, I think there's one of the fast events cards, like another, if you're playing a lot of 4-3-2s and then maybe, I don't know, a 3-1, I really don't think you should, potentially. You could consider playing more Shipment from Tenon and get to 3. If you have influence for biotic, so be it. But just run the good ice and then put the runner in a situation where running is just going to be bad for them and unlikely for them to win. Okay, this is it. Cable Carnage is 5th at BCom. Okay, so let's talk about Weyland Fast Events. Weyland can go incredibly fast. This is a deck that Diogene published a while ago, played it at our store championship, and let's talk about all the good stuff that Weyland can do right now. This actually does less fast events than Weyland can do for fast events. So firstly, the big thing is Weyland got Azov Protocol recently, so the deck can run 7 3-2s, which is the most 3-2s a deck can run in a really long time. I don't think there's, like, since years ago where HB had access to 7. No, HB never even had 7 3-2s. HB only had 6 3-2s. So this is the most. Now, Azov Protocol isn't the best fast advance card because it'll cause you to rip up your board. And a lot of these really fast decks that are trying to win by turn 6 don't have a big board. So like trashing your only ice on R&D is a real legitimate cost. The question is, how do you fast advance? And there's basically 3 tricks you can play in Weyland. This deck is only running 2 of them, which I find surprising. Yeah, there's like 2.5, 3.5. This deck runs 2 of them. The first is Biotic Labor. This has been around forever, so you play Biotic Labor, gain 4 clicks, so you can install advance, advance, advance. Oh yeah, Merger's still legal. Yeah, we don't talk about Merger. Hey, Diogene, this deck was fun, and the testing was better to not use Rococo. Why do you think that is? Because I'm surprised by that. There's a 3-2 that's worth 3 points for the runner. Yeah, 0, Phil, that's exactly it. That's Merger. So you have 4 clicks, install advance, 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 gets a 3-2 off. Fantastic. The other big thing is Audacity, and a lot of people were more scared to play this, and then we start seeing the sports metal decks that were playing this, spending 12 influence on them. It's really, really quite good. Especially with Spin Doctor, now allows you to recur your cards that you throw out. If you do see a Spin Doctor on the table, contest it so that the opponent is not as excited to go ahead and Audacity out of hand with agendas on it, because Audacity is really, really strong. Needed slots for ice. Interesting. Now, the last way you can also fast advance is Reconstruction Contract with Dedication Ceremony. Now, the majority of text on this card you can ignore. It's just this bottom half that's important. You res this for 1 credit, then you can trash this at instant speed to move any number of advancement tokens from Rococo, as we call it, to a card that can be advanced. So the idea is that you Dedication Ceremony this once you res it, and then you can install the Reconstruction, you can dedicate it, and then you install a 3-2 agenda, and then clicklessly move the counters over. And that's a really another strong way to score out 3-2 agendas. If you have red level clearance, which is hard to get into some of these decks, this allows you to clicklessly install the dedication ceremony, the Reconstruction contracts. So you actually can score out a 4-2 agenda from hand. And I think that's quite good. So actually with enough dedications and Rococos and red level clearances, you can even fast advance 5-3s from hand. Having 9 ice was better than having 6 ice. Oh, you took out from the ice slots. Interesting. I think I would take it out from somewhere else, but we'll see. So there's a lot of ways. We have a lot of 3-2s. On top of that, this is Weyland. We have access to Hostile Takeover, which is a 2-1. So it's very easy to score out every single agenda in the game from your hand that you need to score out. You're going to see a lot of these decks run a Global Food Initiative as a 5-3. They have very little plan to score this thing out. It's just in the deck as a pseudo 5-2 agenda so that the runner is still going to have to score at least 4 agendas. Sometimes it's 5 if they score Hostile Takeovers really awkwardly. Okay. So I want to try this and play it. I've played a fair bit of this deck. This deck is special in some certain ways. And then I've seen a fair bit of this deck. And we want to see what we can learn from this and what's the best way we could build Weyland Fast Advance. So the first question comes, what agenda ID do you run? Now, back in the day, there was an obvious answer to this. What is it even called? Titan. Titan Transnational was the biggest deal. It was the best Weyland Fast Advance for a really long time. Nisei banned this, I think, a year ago to date, just about. And Titan Transnational not only gave you 17 influence, but it said anytime that you score out a Project Atlas, you immediately got a token on it, because that's all that Titan does. It says when you score an agenda, put an agenda counter on it. And this meant that you could grab your next piece of Fast Advance. Immense. So strong. Score 1 Atlas, next turn score another Atlas, next turn score another Atlas, next turn score a Hostile Takeover, you win. Now, we don't have this for good reason. So the question is, what do we play? And we've got a couple options. I'm not going to consider Jemison. I think Fast Advance right now is so good that Jemison is bad. So Jemison is actually like the next Fast Advance thing you can do in Weyland, and Jemison forces you to forfeit your agendas to get additional counters. So the idea is that you can forfeit a 2-0 or a 2-1 agenda and then score a 3-2 or a 4-2 from hand. And I think that Weyland has so many really robust Fast Advance tools that you actively do not want to do Jemison. Like, why would you want to forfeit a 1-2 to score a 3-2 when you have 700 ways to score a 3-2 in faction? And I think we actually saw that in practice at the Store Championship. I saw a lot of players that never triggered Jemison because they just had enough Rococos and Audacities that they didn't need to. And actively, you're only fast advancing 1 point instead of 2. Why play Jemison as FA when you can just make lethal clearinghouses? I still haven't done that yet. I need to check that out. So the idea is, what ID do you play? Now, this built the last idea is I'm actually not the biggest fan of it, because if you do the, do the math, lol, you realize that you're only going to be scoring about 3 agendas out, right? Like you want to score a 3-2, a 3-2, a 3-2, and a 2-1. The last agenda largely doesn't matter its ability. Like it doesn't matter too much what you do with it, because if the game is over, the credits don't matter. It does help you if you only have if you need 2 credits, you only have 1 credit, I guess that matters. But the idea is that the built to last ability is not going to fire that often. So throughout a game, you're expecting only to get 6 credits of value through this. Doesn't seem great. The best part I think about Built to Last, by no doubt, is that it has 40 deck size. So you can actually run a 44 card deck, or in theory a 42 card deck, compared to any of these decks. So I have to run more, 49 cards. And that's a big thing that I'm not a big fan of Built to Last, is that you don't get that much money. Like if you're only advancing a couple agendas, you don't get that much money. And compare that to something like the Outfit, where if you get 2 bad publicity, which obviously is a bit rough, but if you get 2 bad publicity, you've done better. You've done better than Built to Last, barring the deck size issue. So if you take on 3 bad publicity, you have 9 credits, and you've done better than Built to Last can do. There are some other options you could consider. You could consider Argus as a way to slow down the runner if they're really scared of you. I don't know if there's any really obvious other things I'd consider. I would consider the Outfit. I wouldn't consider the Jemison. Maybe you consider Built to Last. I feel like there's one more we're forgetting. Don't some of these Weyland FA decks run really low to the ground? They totally do. They definitely do. They definitely do run low in the ground, where that's just barely enough to get through. Like if you're Audacitying for 1 credit, so be it. But I feel like if you're running 3 Biotic Labors, I wouldn't call it super low to the ground. There's a chance that 6 credits is enough, but I feel like I very easily get 6 credits from this. And I think my favorite thing about the Outfit as well is that it really incentivizes you to run bad publicity ice, which means you can get away with playing Trebuchet. Trebuchet for 4 credits is kind of incredible. Builder nations with the 40 card deck size ID before built to last. Maybe you're forgetting that. I'm definitely not. 6 credits assumes the runner won't steal and you don't use the credits to advance the winning agenda. I think 10 to 12 credits is more fair. No, what do you mean? Oh, yeah, I see. Sorry, you mean if you advance an agenda on the table and leave it, which I think you should not be doing, especially if your ice suite looks like 3 ice wall, 3 form of carry. I see what you mean, but no, you'd hope to not do that. Okay, another big difference between this deck I think is way less 100% focused at fast advance. It only runs a single biotic as opposed to 3. It does have the dedications, but this deck also runs hard-hitting news. And I think that's also a really big advantage of this deck being more of a burst economy deck. You're playing too big to fail to gain 10 credits, is that you do have a backup win condition. And so the question here is this worth it? And that is actually something I was really scared when I was playing against this deck. And it was a huge advantage to know this deck list, is that I knew that as a runner, I didn't have to respect credit differentials. When this deck has access to hard-hitting news, it only has access to a single kill piece, which gets a bit awkward if you can't pull this with your Project Atlas token. It forks the runner and you technically have 2 win conditions. And you saw back in the day, some Titan Transnational decks ran the same way. I'm going to have fast advance, but also a kill package. I'm hoping at this point that you can actually go fast enough where this doesn't matter, that you can actually cut this. But there's a chance if people stop disrespecting it, you just take a pivot and you drop 1 biotic labor to play 2 hard-hitting news. You drop 1 thing to play maybe 1 or 2 a boom maybe, or what's it called? High profile target, and call it a day. Built to last only triggers if you have at least 1 credit though? I guess so. What about Gagarin? Oh, Gagarin's like okay. The thing is, like, Gagarin really doesn't matter much because you're not really putting things in remote servers for people to run on. I would not do it. I think Gagarin is definitely worse than either of these two. Okay, so what I think about this list. This list is a bit interesting. It's playing an Oaktown renovation, which is a bit tricky because it's a face-up ice. It's technically possible to fast advance this with enough biotics. I guess anything is. So I don't love it. I don't know what else that slot goes to. One thing I think this deck actually could do is play a 3rd hostile takeover. I think hostile takeover is such a big deal that you want to play 3. Even if you played to 19 agenda points, I think that is worth it because it's very easy for you to get to 6 agenda points and then have to work a bit harder to score at the last one. Hostile takeover is also a fair bit harder to clot, especially when it comes to audacity. I do like it's also an econ card. If you score it out to get to 4 agenda points, even if that gives you 7 credits, that's kind of worth it, or technically 5 credits for the whole turn. Other things that are tricky, I've heard some people not want to play Rashida. I've heard some people want to play Rashida specifically because Rashida is hard to protect. I think Cable Carnage says specifically to drop the Rashidas and play something like a wall-to-wall. And the wall-to-wall on its own is a bit more expensive than Rashida. It does give you card draw, does give you low credits. Sometimes the advancements can matter if you are really advancing your Mouselisses out. But I think that's an interesting option because it's really difficult to get an early Rashida. If you can't get a turn 1, you're in a really hard place. Yeah, Solomir, if you're running you're right, Reconstruction Dedication Ceremony, you can run New Construction, which has a inherent combo that you can actually score it out from hand if you have everything. Otherwise, this is really nice. There's some really good parts about this list. I think the Malapert Data Vaults are a bit stronger than they look, and runners need to contest this more often than not, just because if they fast advance and Audacity their hand, this allows them to get 1 piece back into their hand, and they're actually very close to scoring out the next turn. This can be pretty mean. When you're taking on some bad publicity, 4 is not that hard to trash, but the game can go pretty fast. This actually can be a bit difficult. And this deck runs 2 Cyberdex Virus Suites. One thing that I would really want to play if I am playing Cyberdex Virus Suite is if I'm playing as well, what's it called? Red Level Clearance. Because without red level clearance, if you want to stop a clot, you need to have a Cyberdex Virus Suite already on the table, and that's actually quite difficult because you're not icing up your servers. They need to be able to get into, like, you need to protect this somewhere, and it's really hard for you to actually protect things in this deck when there's only 1 ice that actually ends the run. And I think the ice suite we can change out around a bit as well. I do think this deck doesn't have Cyberdex Virus Suite, and if you're playing into a lot of clot, you definitely want to consider that, or consider an Arc Lockdown. This deck could, in theory, either of these decks could play Arc Lockdown, but I think those are interesting things to look at. And then Red Level Clearance definitely makes a fair bit more sense if you're running Dedication Rococo, which I think you want to try a bit. The Malapert was the key to the deck and made such a difference of 4 credits to trash is no joke. I think 4 credits to trash is technically a joke. I just think people don't respect it. I definitely didn't respect it when we played, but it wasn't because of the 4 credits. I do think you do want to trash this on site. Unless you're at game point, in which it doesn't matter. Now, the ice suite is weird. This ice suite, we're looking at 3 border control, which is a fair bit more credits to res than an ice wall. And you have a bulwark. A bulwark is in this deck. It's probably too expensive for this deck, but it's in this deck because this deck has a lot more explosive money, and then you end up resing it for only 7 credits with bad publicity, but it is a fair bit. Top of that, we have Afshar for HQ, and we have 3 Mouseless. Mouseless is just a taxing ice. People generally boomerang this, or they don't have a good way to deal with it. And none of these subroutines really win you the game or lose you the game as the runner, so they don't matter too much. It's a bit better in this deck where the tag actually matters, but it's good, it's taxing. And then this deck runs 3 Trebuchet, which is technically an end the run. When you res it for 4, it's doable. The issue right now is Weyland doesn't have a lot of good sentries. Now in this list you have Ice Wall, and I'd argue that I think if you're playing Ice Wall, I feel like you might as well play even Bailiff, if not just Vanilla. I think you need a really good reason to run Ice Wall, and I'm aware that you could advance it once with Built to Last to gain a credit. I do think the information that betrays that it's advanceable ice is not worth it. If it's rezzed, you could just click for credit, because if people are breaking this with anything besides Amakua, 2 strength and 1 strength generally doesn't matter. There's no fractor people are playing where that actively changes the cost, so you might as well play Vanilla and hope that, or Bailiff, I guess, and just assume that that 1 credit, 1 strength difference is not going to matter. Is there a focus on advancing Mouseless? No. You're trying to win. You don't want to advance the Mouseless. I also don't love Formicary. It's technically the closest to an end to run on the Sentry, but I think specifically Diogene, I don't know if you remember, but the Formicary on HQ, which you had it rezzed, means that we diversion of funds through this, and we got like 3 or 4 extra runs where we just took 2 cards from hand and it didn't matter. It's really hard to play a Sentry right now. It is really quite difficult because there's nothing that really ends the run, and I would not play Trebuchet in any other deck besides the outfit. I think you could consider playing something like Veritas, but it doesn't feel great. At least sometimes you only res this for 2 credits, and it's a bit annoying. It doesn't end the run, which is an issue. I've been looking through the ice suite recently, and like, no joke, and I think, Diogene, you might be interested in this, considering we've seen what Malapert can do. Why not? He says before trying it out and hating it, but why not? Formicary is cheap. I'd rather play 3 more Vanillas then, because like, you don't need your breaker for Formicary in this matchup. You just hit it. Why not this? It moves around. It moves around once. It doesn't matter. You can take 2 net damage and meat damage in the thing. Why not? A lot of reasons. Okay. When this card came out, it was largely unplayable because it's missing a very important word, which is may. If this says you may search R&D for a card and add it to HQ shuffle R&D, this card would be so much better. Because currently, if it's on the table, a runner can run this and force a shuffle in R&D. They can force a shuffle in R&D. That's quite scary. Oh, Rototurret. Yeah, Diogene. That's exactly it. If you're running Formicary, you might as well be running Cobra. Formicary is too cheap, right? It's like 2 credits. Yeah, okay. So like, I feel like I'd rather run Cobra than Formicary. I'm aware that Formicary ends the run sometimes. I just don't see any world where somebody wouldn't want to take 2 net damage when you're bioticking out every turn, or 2 meat damage, as opposed to Cobra, which will do what you want it to do, but also trash a program, which can be incredibly important by trashing a Claw, a Stargate, or something like that. A mixed bag. You could even consider playing, there's that on-axis trap ice from Weyland. I don't remember the name of it right now. Rototurret is kind of fun for Sentry, but it basically hurts Crims without Amakua. Yeah, you could. It's like not amazing against Anarch because they install from the bin. It's 1 influence. Sapper, thank you, Rikatha. You could also consider Sapper, but again, it doesn't actually trash. Like, it doesn't end the run. I just don't like this because there's a no world where this meat damage could either kill someone, or no world where this actually, like, I just don't see any fast events deck where I'm running through this and be like, wow, I don't want to suffer 2 meat damage to see the top of the deck where they're going to win really quick. It did in the tournament and every other game but ours. I think people are misplaying into that. I really think they are. Like, I don't see what could possibly be in your hand that you don't want to take 2 net damage against a deck that wants to win in 6 turns. You know what I mean? Trashing programs just isn't good in a world of bin breakers and simul chips. No, I don't think it's good. And Formicary actually helps Anarchs. At least modernly. I'm interested in Watchtower. It's kind of expensive, but if this fires and pulls a biotic to hand, like, is that okay? Like, they can't run through this. It shuffles the deck, and that was a bigger deal when we had medium, but people are not playing. Like, people are definitely not playing Conduit right now. It can snipe cards like Stargate. That's fine, though. Like, what about if you had an end the run, so they just can't Stargate, you know? Isn't the only reason to play Formicary is because abusing approach triggers the Mana Garm? That's classically why people played Formicary, because it causes the on approach twice. So, like, you had the Kayambe grid, but otherwise, not often. I kind of want to play it. Making changes, it looks like Jateki's 3/2s are not that great. No, Elwin, they don't do anything. You still score them. They don't do anything. Longevity Serum does something. The other ones are blank. No, you're getting to points. That's what happens when you play Jateki Fast Advance. Ignore the text. They're all blank. Sorry. It's not exciting, but that's how it is. You could also, yeah, as mentioned, you could Lacosta and go a bit faster on 4/2s. Anyways, that's where things stand with Fast Advance. I'd be interested to play something like this. Played maybe 2 Meiotic Labors and then spend the other 2 influence onto, what's it called? red level clearances, because red level clearance allows you to actively use the Cyberdex Fire Suites, allows you to dedication ceremony, and all this stuff is very flexible. I think the Ice Suite's going to be a bit interesting. I think the Mouseless is still good. I think Afshar is also really important in this deck. It is an end the run code gate, which is interesting. It has a non-trivial on encounter, which is really cool, and it's cheap too. I think this is like a pretty natural inclusion because people aren't really playing Hordem. Mainly forward cameras have a cheap sentry since the deck ran rather poor. I just don't like. I hear you, but I feel like the sentries are so bad that you're better just off having another cheap code gate or another cheap barrier. Unfortunately, like if your cheap sentry doesn't require sentry breaker, then I don't see the point of, like, you're not forcing a sentry breaker when I can run through this for 2 cards. Because in a lot of ways, taking 2 card draw is cheaper to me than finding my killer, installing my killer, and paying credits. So like if the game is not long and then the problem you're presenting to me is harder to solve than actually just running into this thing, then run into it, right? There's a Weyland card that has a tank on it, right? Like it's that sort of mentality. What is the Weyland ice with a tank on it? Faction Weyland. Sort by... Is it in the rotation? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Colossus is great, but not really in a fast deck. Colossus, yeah, it's just way too much money. And it doesn't do what we want it to do. We're not trying to trash ice. We're trying to just like make sure that they can't hit HQ and R&D every turn and win. What about Owl? It's cheap and it seems like they couldn't just ignore it all game. Owl just puts a card on top of the deck. Like, it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's kind of like in the same case where it's like, is this better than just not running a sentry? I don't know. Wait, has the tank rotated? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? There's like this tank that you don't have to break if you pay 2 credits. This is the thinking of a champion. Most players dislike to lose cards. Yeah, I know. That might be true. Like, I think you're right. You might be able to have good plays against players who maybe are playing suboptimally. And so much of what we do here is trying to make a deck that like wins across all tables. No disrespect to anyone there, obviously. But Negotiator, Solomir, thank you. But yeah, I'd rather play something that allows us to have the control than have their opponent be able to punt it. Okay, this rotated a while ago. Okay, so this is the same sort of issue. It's like, this is a card where like, if you just pay credits for it, you don't have to go find the thing to deal with this. So like, nobody played it. Owl. Is Owl the answer? Add one installed program to the top of the stack. So if they don't install anything, this is nothing. What do you want to return to the top of the stack? So like, if you have this on a remote server, you don't. If you have it on R&D, you put back what? Like, they don't really install Rizekis. If they install a paperclip, it's good, because then they can't reinstall the paperclip. They have to draw and actually play it. Like, that's okay. But I don't know. I think I'd rather just run an Enigma and call it a day. Like, again, if the game is over in like 6 turns, the runner has 24 clicks. What about if you take one of them away from them? Like, you know? It's hard. Sapper's better Owl. I think Sapper is better than an Owl, depending on how many Anarchs you have. Yeah. Owl, it's the fact that Sapper works on Axis. Yes, that's cool. Owl bounces the Anarch stuff, but it needs another ice. Otherwise, yeah, it does very little. If they don't install paperclip, they can get through your vanilla 5-head. Yeah, I know, but then you have to get it all to line up. Like, it's just, you're asking for a lot, you know? Yeah, no? Maybe Sapper. I don't know. We just need a good mid-range Weyland sentry. We got nothing. Back in the day, this is what you ran. Like, in the fast advanced, like, Titan Transnationals, if you ran a sentry, you ran guard. You would pay 4-2 sentry and the run. Can't bypass. That was good enough. You're excited about this. Because then you'd be like, has Valencia found her MK Ultra? I hope not. I don't know. Boomerang's a hell of a drug. Okay. Oh, we got a lot of slots back. We should publish decks more often, huh? Carp deck. Let's talk about it. Let's try things. So we're going to play Weyland Fast Advance. Let's look at what's possible. So Built to Last isn't a possibility, but again, I don't think you're getting more than 6 credits off this ability, which isn't exciting. Built a Better World, we don't want to play that many transactions. Elwin, yes. Can you try posting the full link if you can? Because it worked last time. I remember when my opponent femmed my guard. I've had that happen too. Build Nations, because we built it. No. So it's the outfit. SSO doesn't really do what we want to do. Scorpius is banned. Jemison, I don't like. Gagarin, draft ID. No. I think I'm gonna do the bad publicity one. Let's try Built to Last. Let's try. Built to Last lets you only play 18 agenda points. I know, but it's awkward. I don't think you have a good 18 agenda points. Like, I think you still end up playing 19 agenda points. If anything, playing less agendas is a good thing. Okay, Elwin, I'll talk. I'm gonna keep this open in another tab, so we'll see it before we. No, sorry, I tried very hard. Neurospec is probably the fastest deck. You think? I honestly don't know about that. I haven't played enough Neurospec. I don't think we played a Neurospec deck on this channel, like the good ones. I mean, let's do 3 Azef, but again, who knows? The cool thing also about like a red level, what's it called? The clearance is that you can score Azef. Yo, Diogene, favorite thing is that you're not playing hedge fund. I think that is big brain energy. I think that's correct. Just like the old Titan Jacks, not playing hedge fund, good for you. That is correct. Play C but never flip. You just don't put enough stuff in the remote server. But honestly, okay. Oh, I see what you mean. It protects HQ. Not the worst. No, Solomir, I don't think we've re-educated. Oh, hold on. This is why. We have not played a re-education Neurospec deck on channel. We definitely haven't. Okay, Atlas 3 times. 4-2 awkward. Probably new construction if we're on Dedi Rococo. I sort of miss NGO though. Yeah, but a fast events deck doesn't want to play NGO. Like, this is our agenda suite. So like, we could drop a 3-2 to pay a 5-3 and it's not that much. We're not winning slots, right? We're not winning slots if we play a 20 to 21 agenda point. If we just drop like an Azef and play a 5-3. Okay, what do we want? Let's try and do our thing. So we want Spin Doctor because it's good. We want 3 Audacity because it's absurd. We want Biotic Labor. We'll try to do 2, I think, is what we can do. And then red level clearance, 2. And that's all our influence, right? So then we need Dedication Ceremony. I'm not convinced we can Rashida that optimally, so I'm going to try and do wall to wall. Waka waka. Wall to wall. We'll do maybe 2 of them. Take 2. Let me try that. Okay, one gone. Yeah. Here, let me see what you got too. I'm not going to look at it. I'm going to finish the list. So I feel like we've... Okay, that worked. So I can... We'll look at it in a second. I just want to do this first so it feels like we didn't poison ourselves. Poison's not a good connotation. Education Neuro is a really fun archetype to play around with, although it makes the current rise of Caldera. Are people playing Caldera? Okay, Spin Doctor wall to wall. Is there anything we're missing? Definitely reconstruction contract. Okay. If we're looking at the upgrades, Crisium's a bit too slow. We'll do Virus Suite. I guess we can do 2 of. We can't play Lockdown, unfortunately. Arc Lockdown. Let's try Malapert. Malapert's cute. I don't think we want 3. NGO's 2 clicks for 6, though. If you win, that's better, though. Winning's good. It's also like a thing. Another thing is like going fast. Like having more trashables in your deck is also like technically a bad thing. Like if they run R&D trash for 1 with bad publicity for free and then see another card, like sometimes you just lose because of that. How do you find your FA though? You draw it. You just draw it. We're playing Watchtower, by the way. Okay, so everything else we have to play in faction. We definitely need some amount of money, so we're gonna play 2 big. We have 40. We can play more cards. Diogene, you said you couldn't fit the cards in because you have deck slots, and then you played 42 cards. Your arguments do not make sense. Let's do an after. Sprint might be better than RLC. RLC is not for card draw. RLC is so that we can clicklessly install a reconstruction contract. Or we can clicklessly draw and then gain the click back so we can Biotic or Audacity from hand. It's not for card draw. You generally don't do this for clickless card draw. If you're just getting card draw, yeah, Sprint is interesting. Sprint actually might be better than the Spin Doctor too. Isn't the big brain play here to play a 49 built to last? Oh, I feel like at that point I'd probably just play the outfit. But maybe. Honestly, maybe. Okay. As close to the ground as we can fly before we get stuck on a speed bump. Okay. Mouseless 3x maybe. And then Sentry, no idea. We can run 1 Sentry. How many ice is too little ice? It's not a lot of ice. So you need 3 cards to pull off the combo? No, Dedication Rococo, well, and an agenda, yes. You do not need red level clearance to combo out, but it's a possibility. Yeah, Bailiff is basically Weyland pop-up. I think Vanilla might be good enough. We could play 2 more cards for Bailiff, but like everything dies to Amakua. This feels like maybe 1 too little. At this point, I would consider cutting the Malapairs. I just hope we draw good. Afshar is quite good, actually. Clickless draw is equally important with RLC? I don't know. I keep hoarding them, baby. Yeah, RLC with Coco getting you and Catlin. Red level clearance giving you a counter on Project Atlas is incredibly important. It cannot be understated how important sometimes it is to clicklessly install one of the dedications to get an extra click, so you can install Advance Your Atlas, move 3 counters over it. It's like such a big deal. What I would consider doing here is dropping a Malapur to play more ice. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this deck is a bit more glaciary. It's running a fair bit more ice. Mind you, we're on 49 cards. We're at 11 ice. And Trebuchet is a heck of a drug. Oh my god. And here we're at 9 ice. So we're even low for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a Cyberdex Virus Suite and see how bad we get tortured by that. If you go for 40 cards, you could let go of Biotic. Wait, what? What do you mean? I don't want to let go of Biotic. What do you mean go for 40 cards? Like just play 40? Like Diogene 40? We can try this. We can try this, but I'd very quickly play 49 cards, play 3 Trebuchets, and then run like 2 hedge funds or something. And just drop one thing for a food, which I guess hurts it on influence, but we can drop a Spin Doctor or something. Okay. Going quite fast, please. We'll try this. Okay. Wenagon posted this. What is Doof? Okay. Oh, Aket is so good. This is the answer. Yeah, Daojin, sorry. This is the card that I think you play instead of Ice Wall every day of the week. You res this generally for 2 credits. If you triple advance, it is actually quite good if it comes to it. And this sometimes can put, because you actually do put agendas behind ice. Like you do put a 4-2 out there and hope it wins. This is so much better than Ice Wall. Excuse me. This is what you want to play. Where's Watchtower? Oh yeah, let's do that actually. Thank you. I forgot. This is what you want to play over Ice Wall every day of the week. Border Control, yeah, kind of makes sense. Hoard'em, okay. Ballista. Ugh. I don't want to pay 5 cards to end the run, but maybe that's not wrong. What else you got here? Same agenda suite, but only playing 2 hostiles. I swear playing the 3rd hostile is correct, but we could be proven wrong. This makes sense. 3 wall-to-walls is what we're on. We dropped the Malapurts, which could be correct. And then you have an Arc Lockdown, which is really cute. No Biotic, which is very expensive, but you have Trickle Light as well, which is also quite cool as well. And that makes a bit more sense with, like, I guess, you can't advance Ballista, so these 2 as well. This is cool too. I like this. Okay, we do have to stick to our guns, though. We're going to drop 2 Mouseless for a Watchtower and see how bad this is. Or good, I mean, I forget. You'll need to pull 4 times a combo of agenda plus something. You want to go faster and win before turn 10s. In response to what exactly? But yeah, I think I like the Akata a fair bit. I feel like we have too much data vault. But hey. Hey, the like less than thanks did not copy into the JNet. That's weird. Why did that happen? The Diogenes 40 special is always good to test a fast deck. You can't go faster than 40. Because the speed of your deck is how light it is. Like literally a light object accelerates quicker due to physics. Unless it's like downhill, in which mass matters. There's less resistance? How's the physics work? It is a corp deck, excuse me. Going fast, please. No, Sprint is technically the fastest card by title. Dude, physics is a legendary phrase. I have a good understanding of how physics works. Malapur did less than nothing for me when I had it in mind. Yeah, we'll see. If your opponent trashes it, yeah. I'm a bit dubious about it. It seems, upside seems good, but I do think like top decking a Malapur feels like butt. In mid game. Like in the mid game, really bad. Maybe that's why you want to run 3, but I'm not convinced. I feel like card draw might be just better. It's fun to see most runners than my corp with more cards. Oh, like more cards in their deck? Yeah. Light objects have greater wind resistance though, right? No. I would assume that has to do with like surface area. No, I feel like that seems like a logical conclusion, but isn't it just like lighter objects feel the impact of wind resistance more? Wait, actually, is that true? There's no faster card than Trick of Light. Wormhole could be. Would Wormhole technically be faster than Sprint? Okay, Parallel got there too. You can all come to my first year mechanics classes. Andrew, I need you to answer all of this. Mr. Lee's gone. He's elusive. I've done negative physics over the past 12 years. It's too bad you can't play Tranquility Grid. Tranquility Grid's good. Andre is correct. Read light objects and wind. Feels good. Yeah, I'd assume that it just, you can tell more. A bird has less wind resistance than a bag of sugar weighing the same as the bird. I am confident. Yeah. But that has to do with bird physics. Bird physics is totally different. Opening hand. Oh, we're going to hate this watchtower. Going to mulligan that. Honestly, could have kept that. Thanks, you too. Hey, it's Seabass. What falls faster, a bag of bricks or a bag of birds? It's probably a bag of birds. Bird physics better than bird law. I'm just going to score this out. I'm worried they'll have imp and like maybe even, what's it called? Carnivore. So we scored this out and we gained 2 credits. We could have scored it out and gained 3 credits. So we're technically behind what's it called? The outfit. So we got to keep track of that because we're technically behind the outfit ability. Why don't you use Watchtower to pull a better piece of ice? If we ever pull Watchtower, that's what I'm worried about. If we ever pull Watchtower to pull imp, oh my god, it's bad. But luckily here, if they hit a sapper, that's like primo. Please hit the, hit the sapper. 1 in 5 new construction shit. It feels okay, man. Catching Andre's stream. Yo, that's how I feel too. Pick one. How's it going? All right, this is gonna go down for free. That seems quite bad, honestly. Draw once. Okay, we're gonna score that out next turn. So we'll put this on HQ, put this on R&D. Billion credits. We're good to go. Birds don't exist. Come on, America. Lighter objects have less inertia, so do respond to wind resistance more significantly. It's so cool that we have such a great language that we can say that sentence as complicated as that it's going to be. Do we include CVS? Yeah, yeah, 1. Oh, did you install a daily cast for 3 credits? Dude, that is so bad. Why would you install a daily cast? You know I own this sky. That's my sky. That's rude. That was rude. I'll admit that. Watchtower is pretty sus. Okay, they're gonna hit this, and we're gonna pull an Audacity to hand, and we're gonna win. Especially because we don't have to show them the card, right? No, we don't. Thank God. I actually feel good about this. This is a good ice placement. Do we score this? What are we gonna do? Draw? Okay. So we got 2 for 6 credits. If we were the outfit, we would have got 6 credits. Now, 4 agenda points actually doesn't really matter because unless we score the last hostile, we're still going to have to score at 2 agendas. So this hat style takeover is not that important. So not the most important thing to score there. We are really committing if we score this to score the last one. That being said, we have 20 credits. Too bad Publicity though. They haven't found a breaker yet, and that is way too slow. Rizeki's way too slow. Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, they're 3 hostile. We played 3 hostile in this list because I like 3 hostile a fair bit. I feel like the hostile's like just busted. Like it's a 2-1 that gives you 5 credits. Why would you not play more of those? Seabass, please just run into this stuff. I need to make this do things. Okay, I said Liberated was slow, but they're... Okay, well, that's why you play 3 hostile. We're on game point. Checkmate, atheists. All right, next turn we jam this out. And again, if they run into Watchtower, we pull a 3-2 or a Biotic or Audacity. Like we can do either. Scoring a point per turn right now. Keep up the base. Yeah. So again, we would have got 9 credits. We got 8 credits. So we're still behind the bad publicity one. Oh, that's sad. Okay, trash my sapper. Imagine Ice doing things in 2022 Lamau. Yeah, I know. Yeah, okay, well. Afshar actually would have been better there, right? Because they couldn't break all the subroutines, so they couldn't hippo it. But yeah, it looks like the imp is going to connect. We would like to keep these 2. You can have man in chair. Only ice that ever fires is the turn 1 brainstorm. It's actually like turn 3 brainstorm where you run it and they don't res on their remote server and you're like, that's not suspect. That's good. You imp that. You have 3 bad publicity. You can just trash that. A lot of times you actually just want to pressure centrals anyways, because if I have fewer cards in hand, I can't Audacity. We have 1 Audacity in the deck and 3 Biotic. Yeah, there you go. You draw a card. You definitely trash that. Paying 5, I think, is correct. Okay. All right. A bit awkward, but we have a couple top decks that can win here. So we draw, if this fires, like, we win, right? If this fires, we can pull Audacity. We can pull a Dedication Ceremony. We can pull a Biotic. Like, I'm honestly not unironically Watchtower. Speaking of gravity, someone played Oberth Protocol against me for the first time this week. It has pretty astrophysics correct theme. Oh, like the way functionally it works? Because I don't honestly know what the Oberth Protocol is. I'm aware of like the Jemison theme, because Mae Jemison was the first African-American astronaut, if I'm not mistaken. Come on in. No, please, just run the Watchtower. I wonder if Afshar is just worse than Enigma, because losing 2 credits is not that impactful, specifically when they have bad publicity, as opposed to like just losing a click. That actually matters. Maybe this is wrong. Top deck. Okay, so how many cards do we have that we can win off? 3 Biotic, 3 Dedication, 1 Audacity. So it's 7 and 26. And we win. Oh no, that's bad. Wouldn't it? But they run through Watchtower, you pull Biotic, they hit Biotic in hand and imp it? No, but Watchtower's on R&D. Okay, this is bad. This is now bad. Okay, this is bad now. Hippo proof, I guess, but like when they have that much bad publicity, I don't think the Hippo is getting taxed out. At least we're probably going to keep an agenda next turn in hand. We're probably going to keep an agenda. 7 and 23. Okay. Feels good. This is kind of a bit sus to put out because like they get to imp it. At least if they imp this, like we feel better. With 3 bad publicity, they'll never imp it. But the fact that they can run that to draw a card and gain a credit, that feels bad. That's what we probably shouldn't have done. Have you considered drawing less agendas? Yeah. We did put an extra hostile in there. Imagine the runner just wants into you. Yeah, we'll draw a Spin Doctor at some point. Just please run R&D. They have no breaker. Like, what are you scared of? Whoredom? Whoredom? Okay, luckily they can't hippo this. Because they can't break all these subroutines because on HQ, and hippo requires you to break all subroutines. Oberth effect essentially is that you get extra velocity performing maneuvers closer to a massive object. Oh, hold on. Did I make the runner lose too? It's not going to matter. Don't hit this one. Atlas, that's fine. And I can't remember the card exactly, but you get stuff for free cheap. Huh. Can't run till my full suite is up. Yeah, a lot of players play like that. Like, they're just scared of ice, so they don't run unless they have an option. But, like, if we top deck, we win, and you have a hit imp, you really want to run R&D. Because we have, again, 1 and 7. We're clicklessly drawing. Oh, we win. Oh. We were scared there for a minute. There's the winning agendas in archive. Okay. Good game. Fear the masses? Whoa. That makes sense why they're targeting HQ and ignoring R&D. Luckily, we were like very happy to draw all the agendas because they were going to hit that, but okay. So look at this. So we scored out 7 agenda points. We got 2, 4, 6, 8 credits. Last one didn't matter. We had 21 credits, so this didn't matter. If we played we would have got an extra credit. So it's very comparable to the outfit. And with the outfit, our better ice still would have just got hit by a Botulus and Hippo and everything. But definitely very comparable. Yeah, a bit harder. I'd assume you'd just smash centrals with imp. I think that's the play. That being said, again, if they ran the Watchtower, we would have won. Feels okay. Thanks for the game. Sorry if that came out harsh, but yeah, no, I think if you see that this is the sort of deck, you just need to get as many accesses as you can, especially if you have imp. Like imp, so many decks would be incredibly envious of having an imp in this matchup where they're just hitting centrals. Watchtower diff? What do you mean? Like change it? I'm not changing it. It has to fire. It's good. The Malaperts look pretty bad. The Malaprops look pretty bad, and I think a big part of it is that we are never committing to. We just don't have like a slightly extra ice to actually commit to a remote server. We're just centraling up and scoring from hand. So the Malaprops are feeling not good. Interesting lat. Opening hands. We keep this. Why use Malaprop when you have match tower? I think you're right. I don't think we do. We could consider scoring this out on the table, but I think we're gonna wait, just on the basis that they're probably gonna install a resource on turn 1. We could get this on the table. It's just Audacity on top of it, but I wouldn't mind having this going. Put me in, coach. I'm ready. It's a wall-to-wall. They're trashing it. Oh, they did play Gamble first. That makes sense. Rizeki. Okay. We'll just score this out. Hopefully they install something next turn. We also want to make sure that we're playing around Clot. They can swap ice. Maybe we actually wanted to play these backwards. It's really funny. But now if they run HQ, we can just grab something to like dilute HQ. Second Malper, please play daily casts. Don't make me Audacity this out. I will. We have to. They're not respecting HHN at all? I know, they're not. A lot of people don't, and that's why I think you could consider playing hard hitting these in these decks. Drop Biotic, play 2 of them. Are we greedy in a fast event deck? I think we are. Especially with this. So it's either Malapur or we ice it. They have a Clod in the bin. That's a bit frightening. And this is actually a bit of an issue if they figure out where this is and move it appropriately. Just play a resource. We could have put Malapur down instead. Just to get a card draw off of it, but I'm okay with having this on the table. That seems probably just a bit better. And they can't clot this. We'll go ahead and score it. They can move our ice around. No resource to trash, unfortunately. If we took down a daily cast, like if they went down to 1 credits or 0 credits, I guess, to install daily cast, like hugely different game. So what do we have? Sapper on the remote server, Watchtower, Vanilla, not great. Double Audacity back into the deck now or wait for it? That's an interesting question. I think we will actually just Audacity back immediately. And I don't think they have 2 clots, so this SMC is not off to be respected. Thought you'd advance it first. Oh, you're right, JFD. I totally forgot. You have to advance it first, not Audacity, because we built the last credits. Yeah, what we did is strictly wrong. Yeah, 100%. That's a good shout out. Yeah, you want to advance first. I did not consider that in the slightest. Well, there she is. Draw. What is this? A Watchtower? Great. Draw. I'll draw once more. Hopefully it was not an agenda. Okay. We'll take it. Yeah, this only gives you if the card is not advanced. So you want to advance Audacity. That's like pretty basic. We need to get that right. DZMZ, again, I don't think they have access to a clock considering it's here. There's nothing they can SMC to pull it out. I will definitely Biotic here. I don't think we'll Audacity because then we have the winning in hand. So we'll do server 3. I'll ask action. Go ahead, boo. Biotic. You want to do it this way too, so you don't Biotic and then like it gets stopped. You want to do as much as you can on the table, and allow them to clot sooner. So I've seen a lot of people Biotic, then install the card, then ask for clot. Don't do it that way. Do it the other way. And now we can win next turn if they don't put down a simul chip. Is this a Hushik deck, I think? Kind of looks like it. Crowder makes me think it is. Putting down all their breakers before they're doing anything, and they have a simul chip. So now we can bait things out. At some point, could you discuss a bit how to play against a sort of fast deck, especially if a bit more of a slower deck? As many accesses as you can get. Make sure you can get Clot on the table. They threw this out. That's wrong. You want to put that on the table, so at least we have to purge it. But you just want to get as many accesses. Because like setting up drip economy over time doesn't matter. When the game's over on 6 turns, if you install this on turn 1, it's only going to give you 3 credits. Give or take. Like, don't do that. Just go fast. Get accesses. Our ice sucks. Like, we're running vanilla. They have bad publicity. It doesn't do anything. We're going to force the Clot behind a Sapper, I guess. In theory, I'm asking action here, because if we advance, they can, we could technically Audacity out an agenda. How about now? Like if it's a 2-1. Nah, okay. I guess we win. We'll call their bluff. Good game. Waiting for the second? Yeah, it makes sense for a lot of players to wait for the second advancement before the third one. Oh. I'll take it. So they could have stopped it if they did. They have to trash something, not a big deal. They have to run out from the sapper. They can deal with the sapper. They have a nanotech. And then from there, we basically purged the thing. It gets a bit awkward because we only have one CVS. From there, we had another hostile hat style on the top, and we had access to CVS and Biotic, so I think we're still in an okay spot. I really get stuck playing my deck, not the matchup. Yeah, Andrew, that's something that I think we talked about when we did a video about playing the thing. And I think the last two games, this game and the game before, is such a good example of this. And I mean this to no disrespect to any of the players, but so often you go into the game and you play your deck and not the matchup, right? Like you understand, oh, my deck, I want to install all these things. I want to get Anacom down, and then I'm going to play an event a turn. I'll play 2 DZMZ so I can install a thing a turn, get my Aesop's Pawn Shop. Like, none of that matters. None of that matters. If the game is over on turn 6, it doesn't matter what your deck is. All that matters, get Clot out as soon as possible, or access to Clot. If you have any sort of way to trash cards from hand, any Stargate, any Imp, get that if you can, and just get as many accesses as possible. Because if they can see the top cards of R&D, how do we win? If they can snipe the Genesis from HQ, how do we win? All of this stuff is so much more important than installing a nanotech they don't need, right? Also, yeah, running into the ice, like a lot of players are scared of ice. And mainly our ice is pretty bad. Nobody's letting us fire Watchtower. But like it forced us to spend credits. Now, admittedly, this deck flies closer to the ground than a lot of others. We've audacity'd out 2 agendas. Some of our agendas gave us money, but you know what I mean? Like force us to spend money, because if we spent money there, we couldn't Biotic out, potentially. I would replace at least one Malapert for a CVS. I think you're right. I don't actually like the Malaperts because we're not building remote servers. Like we're never building remote servers so far. Like it's never felt like a good draw. I've always valued something else over it. I think I'm going to cut both of them. I'll do a CVS and then another ice. I think it's going to be like Enigma. I've never understood being scared of ice, but then again, my face is my best breaker. It comes installed at start of every turn. Exactly. But a lot of players, I think, look at it a bit differently, where they look at it and see like, oh, ice does bad things. I have the solutions. Let me get the solutions first. But again, nothing's that bad, especially in Nisei world. In the Nisei world, ice is a lot more kind as well. Playing my deck, not theirs, is probably why I like Wingspan. That's a good way of talking about Wingspan. Evie has joined us. So your new game is now blessed. Good luck. Thank you, Alec. How's it been going, y'all, with the family, huh? Hey, Jengis, how's it going? Happy Thursday. Late to the party. How's Circle and Done going? Did you get more in? We just did, I don't know. I feel worse talking about Innsmouth because it's not as old, but we meet every Monday I play Arkham, every Tuesday I play Arkham. We haven't done the Monday one because people have been on holidays, but we did Tuesday. We're having a great time in Innsmouth again. It's important to do a risk assessment at the start of the game to figure out what the worst ice you'll expect to see is. I honestly don't know what the worst ice that you expect to see is. Like if you're playing against Jinteki, worry about damage. If you lose a certain card from hand, you lose the game. Maybe consider playing that card first. Against Weyland, doesn't matter. Unless there's an archer at some point in the game and they need an agenda for that to be a thing. And you need programs that if you trash, you can't recur. So like it's kind of hard to get to that point. NBN, some things will give you a tag. Just have a click to remove a tag largely. Hydra is awkward, but nobody plays Hydra. They need to have 10 credits. It's not a real thing. And HB, run early because you hit a Bryroid and then you get die to a ganked loop. Like just run, not last click. That's all you need to do. HB, run with clicks extra. NBN, have a click to remove a tag. Jinteki, they're going to hurt you. Install cards that are irreplaceable. And Weyland, no. Love Arkham just finished the second playthrough of Edge of the Earth. Who'd you play, MTI? What if you face plant an out of faction DNA tracker turn 1? If that happens, you get to enjoy the wonder of influence. And then you get salty when someone plays a snare in HB deck. There's nothing you can do about it. Don't let that like change how you evaluate risk. Parallel, fairly good. My in-laws are visiting from the UK. Oh, get out. So we have a lot of support right now, which is glorious. Oh, that's probably a really nice help. Hopefully you're getting some time to yourself and all that. I don't understand how kids work, but I imagine it takes some time. Weyland's worst is Archer, Trebuchet, Colossus, Mouseless. I would think Weyland's worst is technically Trebuchet, but it's actually pretty niche. You don't really see it out of faction, out of the outfit. And with the outfit, it is really mean. I think if you're playing against the outfit, try and run without installing things. Like just try faceplant. Like the worst thing you could do is like install a daily cast, click one, which is a very backwards play anyways, and then run into a trebuchet. That's bad. Or like install Rizeki, then run. That's bad. There's sometimes you want to do that with SDS drone deployment, but no, people generally don't do that anyways. So just run. In Weyland, you just run. Like you hit a mouseless, maybe you lose a 1 in 5, you lose a breaker, but the game's going to be over in 6 turns anyways. Did you really want to install your McAlter? I'm not sure. At least after the DNA tracker, the corp only has 1 credit, so they can't kill you with snare. Yeah. Finish scenario 5, counting the prologue. Tough one, but we helped a couple of ghosts find peace. Deactivist, that's actually one of the hardest scenarios I think in the whole game. Because there's a huge variance between the objectives and where you have to bring them, and sometimes it is absolutely just diabolical. I hit Surprise Anansi in HB before. Yeah, apparently we were playing last week against Surprise Anansis in NBN, and as Mari, and we didn't see them, luckily. I missed the start of the stream. Did you plug the async tournament startup comp run out of GLC yet? No, Andrew, I didn't. I don't know much of it. What can you tell us? First time through Edge of the Earth, I was Daniela, and she was great. Second time, I was a homebrew investigator made based on a Tohu character. Tohu, I think it's pronounced. That's super cool. Are you playing solo or with multi-hand or with other people as well? Also be aware of credit threshold to cost 8 to Resonancy, 9 to Res Brainstorm, etc. The thing is, like, Brainstorm, I think as a card existing, it's not worth thinking about. Like, there's so much you have to worry about. Netrunner, ignore Brainstorm. Brainstorm will happen to you once every, like, 6 months. And when it happens, you'll be like, wait, that was actually kind of cool. Unless it's a tournament. It's not worth the time and space in your head. Ooh, Nero. Hey. Congrats on deck list of the week. Our Sapper's going to get a fair bit worse with Nero around. This is Erin. She has the deck list right now. The Argus deck list. I still occasionally have nightmares to turn on Cortex Lock. That was something worth worrying about, Cortex Lock turn 1. But Cortex Lock was not good. Links generally don't work in YouTube chat, Jolly. Apologies. Why aren't you playing? I did. Played against Whiteblade. Went terribly. Click 1 Desperado, click 2 run, hit Cortex Lock. That's how it works. We'll keep this. I think we're going to score the Hat Style Takeover, and maybe we'll get diversioned. It's not going to be that big of a deal, I don't think. And your Chaos Theory? With other people, my partner is a huge Tohu fan, so we have, when we play with our 3-player group, we use a lot of custom investigators. That's really cool. Hopefully no one on stream saw that. Oh yeah, it's our secret. Okay, we're just gonna score this out. We can get diverted. I'm just gonna take that risk. Did Erin, she mull? She kept. Okay, so maybe it happens. I wonder what they're doing with Nero. Like, there's not a lot of, that's the worst case scenario. That's fine. 7 credits is enough. So we'll Enigma HQ, we'll watch Tower R&D, put this out naked. That's good. Class act. Haven't seen him miss bones yet. Do you think it's right, actually, just Enigma HQ that turn? Second diversion would be a bit bad. But the chance of Erin having both in her opening hand, pretty rough. Okay, so if we score this, we give her more bad publicity. She's drawn 4.5 cards, so 5 bottomed 1. So the chance of the diversion 2 coming through is kind of high. Now, if we commit to the play we want to commit to, we install 3 cards and we're down to 3 in hand. So the chance of getting through the Enigma and stealing the Hat Style is a bit higher. I'm going to do this. It might be totally correct to score this hostile, but for what it's worth, this hostile is not that important for our game plan, because ideally we score 3/3/2s. If we score this hostile, it's not that important, because we're going to have to score another hostile. Wow. The whole corn maze there. That's buck wild. We generally don't. Hopefully we win faster than that matters. Okay, so we'll draw a card first, gain a credit. We can place an advancement. I'm just going to do that as a diversion. It can be on any card, so it doesn't really matter. From here, what can we do? We could Rococo for 2. I think we're just going to get this scored. This means that the wall-to-wall is actually really easy to trash because she now has 2 bad pub. That might not have been right. It's an asynchronous tournament celebrating the first startup as Ashes plus Uprising rotates soon. Double-sided Swiss, 1 round per week on JNet, then a cut. Search Ashes to Ashes on ABR or on Green Level Clearance Discord. Thank you, Andrew. I'll be able to pull that up on Green Level Clearance. Yeah, that's bad. Hold on. So used to typing /n for anything Netrunner. Okay, let's draw an agenda. We'll start here. We could start clicklisted with this, but with dedication in hand, if we draw into an atlas, we're actually in a really good spot. Interestingly, Nero's like a pretty well-equipped runner to deal with Sapper. So I don't just love putting 2 sentries on HQ. The thing is, like, Sapper doesn't care about Boomerang either. I don't want to do, sorry, I don't want to put 2 code gates in a row on HQ. I want to force having to get new breakers. So I think we can draw one, so we can discard one of these cards. Okay, well, we're getting somewhere. And I think we'll put this on HQ. And are we going to need the Cyberdecks? I don't think they're still going to have to deal with the Sapper. 3 daddies seems like a bit much. I'm assuming we're not going to need this. If anything, we're going to need this for Amakua. Like, there's a chance that, like, I don't know why Aaron's playing Nero. Unless it's like Zamba Amakua or something wild. Do they run Turtle? I'm assuming they do run Turtle. RLC draw. I feel like we're so greedy with RLC considering we have dedication, because as soon as we top deck an Atlas, we can get an Atlas with a counter. So I'm not too excited about Red Love Clearance draw. Especially against BTL, how do you know if they're rushing or building up a bunch of advanceable ice? They almost never do the second one, so that's how you know. Oh, here we get punished a bit. But the answer is almost never the second, especially if we've like done this. Ooh, that's cool. Bachlin's really cool. I think Bachlin's underplayed. Okay. You see? We can't do anything with this. Watch that's bad. Nero doesn't start Turtle though. Why would they? A lot of this like jack out. Well, it's not necessarily Nero. I'm confusing Nero with also like all the exposed stuff, which makes sense because Nero came out the same time-ish. I guess not really. I don't know. I don't think I have a good answer to that. This is getting awkward. I'm just gonna do draw. We'll throw out something. Okay, well that's a play, I guess. And I'm like super surprised that she hasn't ran the Spin Doctor. We're gonna have to throw our hand out anyways. What does it matter? We keep. I'm just hoping she doesn't run this because we want Audacity next turn. And now we have things to trash with the Ozef. We'll probably trash an Enigma. It's only 2 credits. Cool thing about Vanilla is like you don't feel bad trashing it with Ozef. It's a Watchtower. Do we res a Watchtower? Yeah, okay. Too bad publicity makes this kind of bad. If this was a mouseless, we'd be better. Just got recommended my YouTube, your Cipher review from 5 years ago. What a blast. I am often embarrassed to watch some of my older stuff. I do not like what I look like. Ozef behind Vanilla, they definitely have Boomerang and Inside Job even. I don't want to do that. I feel like we're just giving the agenda away. Trash the Spin Doctor, okay. Again, often want to deal with this. Like trashing cards on the top of the R&D. Yeah, there you go. This is what I think. Yeah, there's some D-res package here. There's some shenanigans. Luckily, we're not too hard targeted. This is our most expensive. But now they're de-resing our Watchtower. Okay, so we're not resing Watchtower anymore. That's fine. Okay, well, there goes our hand, I guess. Can she continually afford this? Two damage. We have to trash a card first. Watchtower, Afshar, Vanilla, Enigma with an advancement, Cyberdecks Virus Suite. It's probably Enigma. Nice Neural Katana code gate that doesn't hit at all, Mr. Streamer. Whatever. Ooh, hit E shutdown and a diversion. Feels good. We're not on game point. Whatever. I feel like get an opponent to play to D-res Watchtower is an achievement. It's never happened before in the history of Netrunner. No one's Rubicon switched a Watchtower. Okay, so we definitely want to get the... Not definitely. I don't think actually we want to get this agenda back because, like, what are we going to do with that? We still have 3 dedications in the deck. So I think we actually just put either a Spin Doctor and a dedication back in the deck. I think we can let Aaron have the 4-2. Why don't you just trash the Watchtower? Because she still has to respect it. With 2 bad publicity, it's easy. But at this point, like, she still has to have some money before she runs into this. Because if this fires, it's disastrous. So, like, I liked having the threat. Admittedly, we're probably not going to res it. But, like, if she's on, like, 0 credits, she can't run this. You know what I mean? Okay, it looks like it's not long for the world. Interesting enough, Backlund will get through the vanilla. Okay, that's fine. We have enough agenda points in hand. Just kidding. We're gonna lose them. I think once another breaker comes down, it's not worth keeping the watchtower anyways. Probably not. Yeah, I think it's the next thing to go here. This is gonna be one of the rare instances where bioticking out, we're happy to be built to last. Because we actually have enough to score at next turn. So we hit. What do we hit? Sure Gamble Begalter. Okay, that's fine. What can't they do to go low though? I don't know. Play a blackguard from rotation? I have no idea. But it technically has utility. I can pretend it does at least. We have game point in hand. So we've actually gained more money from built to last than we would in the bad publicity one. So she can de-res. So it's a 1 in 3 here on HQ. Because she can, in theory, use Bachland to de-res this, or she can bounce off this to get turning wheels and then like inside job through or something. We're 1 credit short of resing the offshore, but that wouldn't actually matter. Okay. So she's not Bachlanding it. It's going to be close. And she might just want to try and lock the top of the deck, which I think would make sense. Or an inside job here would be disastrous. If she inside jobs and flushes HQ, we lose. Oh, it's the gauntlet. Oh, no. That's game. Funny enough, we could actually use this for credits. If we were on 1 credit, we could still got out. But that's game. Aaron's doing something really cool, and we're just audacing out. Good game. I wanted to see more of your deck. But I'm F8 scum, huh? How is the thing? 74 to 25 credits. 25 credits. That's 3 Rozekis turn 1. The think your deck. Oh, cards in hand? Yeah, we had enough. Barely. You can't use it for credit though, right? You need that card for Audacity costs? Oh, yeah, you're right. We need a card in hand. I totally forgot about that part. Yeah, we could not have played this because then we only had 2 cards in hand. Audacity doesn't count itself, does it? It's dumb and fun for me. I like it. Yeah, we published, I don't know if it was a Rubicon Switch deck back in the day, but we had a deck list of the week that was like a D-Res deck with like Cipher, but it was the Peregrines. It was the Falcons. That was years ago. Okay, we did what we wanted to do, and Criminal is actually kind of difficult to interact with us. Ciao. If only Rubicon worked clicklessly, it would be... I don't know if it would be busted. It'd be really, really strong. Like, I'm glad that D-Res is not... Rubicon Switch is a card that I've decried when we reviewed it many years ago. Like, this is potentially a very toxic card for the game of Netrunner. And I don't know if you've seen the sort of games where the corp is, like, at 0 credits, you're getting more money because you have Rozekis, and they res an ice, and you just de-res it. Like, there's no game plan there. They have to spend multiple turns building up enough credits, and you know what I mean? Like, it's a really clunky card, but if it was any better, it could be quite poisonous, abstractly. Combine into Breaker and Kuza. Yeah, Kuza is really unwieldy, though. Why be sad about Rubicon when you could be sad about Ankuza? I don't think we've played Ankuza to any effect on this channel. Oh, cool. Reina. Hey. No quote. Opening hand? Bad. Better. We've been opening up with the hat stall. Best of luck. Have fun. Just make it even better with 3x GPI net tap and Zamba. They're not talking to us. Oh no. Oh no, they are. Okay, so Reina, we could expect like Lamprey. We could expect some like pretty mean stuff, like Stargate even, Wanton. It's really hard to read Reina decks because the inherent Reina ability doesn't speak enough. It generally means that they want to do something obnoxious and keep you down for credits. This is going to be hard for us to keep them down for credits, but we could be diversioned on turn 1. An imp, anything like that could happen. But we're going to try and go a bit fast. We have Biotic and Audacity and a Spin Doctor. We have a Sapper in hand, so we have 1 in 5 imp protection if we need to. I think the only deck I've seen that can fund Ankuza is Au Revoir. Yeah, Au Revoir is like... It's the sort of thing that I would love to hear from playtesters, whether these like, you know, really weird Au Revoir decks... Oh, that's a good start. If we can... oh man, if we can get above the law. Whether there was any testing that showed those were potent. This is one of the weird situations where we literally are unable to score Azef. So I think we're going to open with this. Draw 2. And that gives us more options with Ice Up. We'll definitely put this on HQ. The question is what we want to put on R&D. Anarchs. This we have to res for 4 credits. That's expensive. I think we'll just do the vanilla. It's the cheapest one. The face check from Enigma is nice. But this will be good enough. And the next turn we could consider scoring this out for 6 credits and then trash, like, I don't know, vanilla. Oh, and Amakua. Uh-oh. That's actually a problem. That's a real big problem. We can't stop that really well. I'm actually a bit worried. This is good, though. Okay. Do we go ahead and score this out with Biotic? It's pretty expensive. We have to watch out. The Reyna might like Lamprey lock us or do something really, really annoying. If we do that, it costs us 6 credits. We'll be down on 6 credits. We still have Afshar. We have to trash a vanilla. The vanilla is not going to do anything against Amaku, especially when they have bad publicity, so we don't feel bad trashing it. So whatever. Is this 6? Oh, it's 5 credits, right? We're on 12 right now. Do we end on 7? Yeah, sorry. 5 credits. We hit an I've had worse. Great. Love to see it. That's again damage. That's sort of like, okay, they run into a sapper and then they I've had worse it. Uh-oh. That's not good for us. But we'll see how things go here. Were there old Aravor decks built out of Haley or just Woo? I think Woo was the biggest thing at the time. I'm not sure if they were Haley decks. You could check on what's it called? On Netrunner DB, but I'm pretty sure they were mostly Woo. Because Woo would like stim hack them out on turn 1. Scavenge, rejig, or whatever it was at the time. So coffee, 3 clicks, 5 credits. We're going HQ. They can break the Afshar. We res this for 4 credits. At least is relatively taxing. It's 3 credits to go through, which is a lot, considering they have Amakua. And we're down to 3 credits. It still means we can score out next turn. They really want to lock the top of R&D. We could always shuffle through it if we needed to. I'm assuming they have En Passant and other weird things too. Here they could just bounce, like lose 2 credits, one of them bad publicity. It's not too big of a face check. Or they could pay an extra to get an access. Actually, that's probably good. Oh, fire all. They don't want to pay an extra. Okay. I thought Andy was the Aurivore thing. I don't remember a lot of Andy Aurivore. I remember mostly in Shaper. Okay, they're seeing the top of the deck. That's good. When Aurivore was first released, pretty sure it was Binder Fodder. It was Binder Fodder for a while. Friday chip. Uh-oh. That means they have some sort of destruction that we have to worry about. Yeah, it definitely was Binder Fodder. Okay, we have these 2. We could clicklessly draw up. Again, I don't want to install our ice. Our ice against Amaku is pretty bad. We could clicklessly draw 2, but I feel like I'm going to hold on to this because of what we have here. Oh, we could have scored this out next turn. That's fine. We could actually still Audacity this out, but that also seems kind of bad. Again, yeah, this is actually really important that we score this. Do we Audacity a hostile takeover? I don't think we do. If anything, we put this on R&D, click for credit, and like while we don't res this, they might respect it as Archer. But on top of that, if they ever hit our Cyberdex Fire Suites, I think we only have 1. Then maybe we could res the Sapper as a surprise. I'm not sure if they're how many Amakuas they have and how many other breakers. We have 2 CVS. Okay, they need to hit that soon. CVS Purge would be sick. Okay, they're running Spin Doctor. That's good. Will we use it? I don't. They have. Yeah, that's fine. I just want that. I do not want the vanilla. Stargate. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Slung Sapper starting keeping it at HQ seems wrong. It doesn't really change anything. Because if they hit an HQ, they can still break it with Amakua. Reconstruction, Spin Doctor, Spin Doctor. That's annoying. No matter what, we're going to get a Spin Doctor if we want. When do you purge? We don't. There's almost no point purging because Archives is open. Now, though, they can trash 2 Stargates. Sorry, they can trash 2 Spin Doctors. So in theory, we could clicklessly draw for a Spin Doctor if we want to keep a Spin Doctor in. Oh, no, we're going to draw Spin Doctor anyways. Never mind. I'm surprised they trashed the Rococo. Yeah, the early Stargate's bad. That's for sure. They know we have this in hand. I wonder if they pressure this out, but we have to get the scored out. Because we're on game point. Just kidding. We're on 4. I keep forgetting we scored a hat style. Like, this is not good. Giving 2 bad publicity to Amakua seems bad. Hey, Pat, how's it going, man? How's your week been? Got a long weekend, huh? This is just a normal run. So they're going to trash the Spin Doctor and then run back. This is good play. So Spin Doctor comes down for free with bad publicity. This is going to go through again. Resing this just taxes them out of bad publicity, so it doesn't matter. Biotic too big to fail Afshar. The Biotic is going to go down. Again, I don't know how we're going to keep them out. This is another reason, again, like Trebuchet is kind of good. Trebuchet is good. Pat tap, we don't care. Eater, scary. So we're going to draw into a too big to fail, which is unplayable right now. So we can install a Spin Doctor, which would draw... How do we draw an agenda? That's the issue here. Been good week. Just watched Fury Road. First time in a while. Showing someone who never saw it. The Mad Max film. That was really quite good. Okay, we got to think because we're locked. They're putting on a good amount of pressure. We have a too big to fail into Amshar. We don't want either of them. Sorry, we have an Amshar on top of the deck. So we can red level clearance to clicklessly draw. So we would see a new card. That seems like a start. Okay, that's good. From here, it's awkward though. We could keep this in hand. Or we can just biotic out and then have no cards in hand left. So it's either we Audacity the Atlas to get onto 6 points and have nothing, or we can try and get a Spin Doctor on the table. If we have a Spin Doctor on the table, they have to deal with it. It makes it a bit easier to Audacity. We still have only one biotic in the deck because they trashed one. This is hard. I don't actually know what to do here. What do you do here? Thinking back to when I saw it in theaters with a guy who absolutely didn't love it. Get out. Who? We didn't see that together, did we? Oh, what do you do here? Fewer than 10 credits. Not that we want to give them more bad publicity. None of our ice is going to hold them back. Like, literally none of our ice is going to hold them back. We could just consider purging here. I think purging here is fine. It means that we won't have a click to install the Spin Doctor next turn, but I think we have to consider purging here, yeah. That feels kind of bad, but so does the idea of ice. That movie is endlessly rewatchable. Yeah, they're just going to run this 3 times, which is like not great. At least at that point, we'll be drawing an unknown card. I know we never purge, but like, yeah, it's probably bad actually. We have 2 CVSs. If they ran a CVS there, that's okay. Sapper's 2 strength, 3 strength, and then they'll Stargate last click, right? Yeah, that's weird. But this is clearly above 2 strength. We have a Spin Doctor here, though. Doing this last click is not great. Wall-to-wall Audacity Cyberdex Fire Suite. Okay, that's interesting. I was barely able to walk out. I was vibrating. My buddy Stu was like, so they just drove one way and then back? Yeah, that's what happened. They just kept driving around for like 2 hours, man. I joked 3 years ago that Australians wouldn't vote for a pro-climate government until we were literally living in Mad Max. Our election is tomorrow. How's that looking? Okay. So if we Spin Doctor, we're going to draw into CVS and something else. And I think we want to protect the CVS on R&D because there's no way for them to run it without getting the sappered, which is cute. So I'm going to do it. The vanilla, unfortunately, is pretty bad. I wish to some extent we kept the Afshar. This won't break lock, but it's like interesting. Okay, so now they can't Stargate easily without having an actual breaker. I would have done an Audacity and a 3x draw until you have the win in hand. Hope to race him. I don't know. I think they're all different, very interesting lines. Hold on, thinking. So they played Light the Fire, so we can react to this. Because if they do Light the Fire and they run the Spin Doctor, we can't use it. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Spin Doctor. They have to run only remote servers, yeah. So the CVS is fine. Okay, so we'll shuffle back in. I think it's just a Biotic and a Spin Doctor. Okay, that's really cool. You haven't seen this on the stream yet, but just playing Light the Fire actually impacts the board state. I've had worse. Light the Fire this, that's fine. They brain damage to Mad Dash. That's a really good hit. Oh, we got him. They have no breaker. We got them. Res, purge, res. Oh, it is. So they continue to end. So we can trash this. The Amakua won't trash the Stargate though. Still, it'll go through. Even if we trash the Stargate effect still fires. So we have to hope for the best. Above the law, Biotic Sapper. Okay, so at least that's awkward for them. My friends have banned me from being positive, lest I bring down the wrath from on top of the thing, but just quietly I'm optimistic. Before I became an astrophysicist, I worked in politics. It's an odd combo of niche knowledge. Interesting. I really love watching foreign elections. Time to brush up my Australian and keep up on it with Duolingo. Okay, so now they don't have an Amakua. We have a Biotic in hand. So we can score this out eventually at some point. So I think we're going to ice up Archives. That forces them to at least get an answer. We haven't seen an answer yet, and then we can too big to fail. If we draw into another sapper, which is like okay. So I think we're gonna ice too big to fail draw. The order doesn't exactly matter because we knew what they were. Okay, so now they're forced to find a solution for this. We've seen 2 breakers so far. I don't know if they're actually on regular breakers. Have you voted yet, Andrew, or you can't pre-vote? Like, you just have to go there. Still can't bring yourself to trash those pat taps. I totally forgot about those, but it's not that big of a deal. Like, their issue's not going to be economy with 2 bad publicity, 3 bad publicity. It's going to be actually finding breakers. So the pat taps don't matter. What the heck happened? Oh my god. Well, there it is. So no point resing this for 1 credit because they break it for bad publicity. Order matters a bit because it's unclear if you're installing a sapper or vanilla. Oh, that's true. That's true. That's true. Huge, 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 huge. You can. I just like voting in person. That's fair. Okay, at least we have a CVS here, so they can't easily get to more than 1 counter. That being said, they can run Afshar. But they didn't get a counter not because of the CVS, but because they stole an agenda. So we still do have a clock on us. Uh-oh. Oh, wait, that's enough to win. So we'll go down to a couple of credits. So it's still quite dicey here. I think they'll want to go HQ because they can't Stargate through the Sapper unless they let it fire, which is fine. But they want to run at Afshar. The thing is they need to get this to 1 strength so they run here first. It's going to be close. They can definitely, if they snipe this, we're going to have a hard time. Because they need to get this to 2 counters. DreamNet. Oh, they're just letting it happen. Fantastic. That actually might be right. No heap breakers. Oh, I like how they're playing. Goodbye, little turtle. I'm assuming they have more than 1 Mad Dash. This is cool. They're playing pressure. They're still playing their deck, but they are pressuring us. And again, if we trash this Stargate, they still get the Stargate effect. Oh, they had an Azef. Audacity Watchtower. So they know that we're going to have a score if we have it in hand regardless. I want to trash Yamakuwa so they can't run HQ. But they also can't run Archives. They need a trick here. They have 1 click to steal this or to disrupt us heavily. All right, that's game. Wow, that was interesting. So now we just have to Audacity this out for free, gaining a credit. We haven't dedicated Rococo at all yet. Good game. Yeah, Sapper actually did something. Sapper was good. Sapper would, I think it would be way better than Formicary there. Formicary, they could have taken the damage. Like, this forced an answer. That's a cool list. They have a really cool list. Oh, Mining Axe, that makes sense. But hey, time to get Daddy Rococo? I don't think so. I think it's still just so good. It's still just so good. The issue, though, is we're drawing to other stuff. Like, I don't know whether it's worth cutting to red levels. The red levels has actually been great, too. Lots of short games. Well, hey, that happens when you have this 3-2s and like 9 fast advance pieces. Like, you're going to end by turn 5. But Sapper actually performed, which is pretty wild. But hey, they didn't have like actual breakers. Like, this is what they had, so they're going to struggle a bit. If they had like a Black Orchestra or like an MK Ultra, they break it for free every time. So, okay, cool. It's 11:48. Yeah, it's 11:48. That's largely going to be it, huh? Thanks so much for hanging out. If you're watching the VOD, hopefully you're doing well. Enjoy your long Canadian weekend. If you're in America, have a long weekend on us. Trust me. If you call in and you say, look, they're having it up there. Is it? What do you mean? Oh, hold on, Elwin. You posted your list. Okay, hold on. Red goes fast. Slim down to the small pokes and try to build an FA. I worry that I say it's the end of the stream and then everyone like logs off and it's not. Thanks for streaming. Hope the room isn't as hot. Nah, it's got way better. Okay, what are we looking at? Longevity Serum, Nisei, Obokata, Project Yagi Uda. Okay, we're fewer agendas, sick. NGO, Rashida, Snare, Spin Doctor, Genotyping, Hansei, Hedge Fund, Seamless, Shimmer from Tenant, Subliminal Messaging, Hokusai, Grid, 2X. Okay. Interesting. Long weekend's great. We're playing Twilight Imperium, 4 players on Monday. Yo, there's other folks who are playing some TI in chat. Excuse me, I forget who said they were playing 2 games of TI. Charles, yo, cheers. Okay, so looking at this, Data Loop is an expensive ass card. I still think that your average res cost of your ice is probably a bit too high for how fast you want to go here. That would be my guess, right? Because we're looking at 7, 7, 7, 8, 8, 8, and then 1, what is it, 2, 3, or 4, whatever. So it's still pretty high. And Data Loop is a taxing card to go through, and it's a very defensive card if you're actually scoring out Obokata Protocol. Now, I'm assuming you only want to score Obokata Protocol when you have a window, because they like ate a nice old snare off of a central in the last couple turns, and then you're jamming out with Seamless Launch or something. But there's a chance that there's better ways to spend your influence than these many Data Loops, because I'm not sure you're going to be able to score them, and they do very little to support the rest of your agenda plan, if you know what I mean. I want to say this deck is going to be poor from Ice Reses. Might want to swap Yagi for Sandbox Offworld. Yeah, the idea that we suggested all these 3/2s is because we are on shipment from Tenon. So you also have to decide what you want to do with Seamless, because if you're Seamlessing, that means you want to install a card every turn in the remote server. And Seamless Launch actually isn't particularly good with 3/2 agendas. It doesn't do anything with 3/2 agendas. The only value Seamless Launch has in your deck is to score out Obokata a bit faster, a bit more aggressively, and to score out Niseis that are unadvanced. It has nothing to do with half of your agenda suite, right? Like 4 of the 9 agendas. So this actually might not be right for your deck. The shipment for Tenons are quite good, right? Obviously they are quite good because you can score out almost half the agendas in your deck. You're still going to have to score out an Obokata though. I wonder if cutting this is maybe correct, and then you can play something else for the influence. Lacosta instead of Hokusai might be correct. Like Lacosta is just kind of probably good, but again, Lacosta doesn't matter with all the 3/2s. So I still think you have a package of what supports a 4/2 agenda suite while you don't exactly have a 4/2 agenda suite. And Data Loop is really good for again Obokata protocols, which is good, but I think you're only trying to score out 1, right? It's interesting. I still think your ice is probably a bit too expensive. Like again, adding 3 7-cost ice is going to have a huge impact on your deck as a whole. So maybe you just want to get a bit closer to the ground and go a bit faster. Again, though, like you can go pretty far in this deck by just like maybe dropping the Seamlesses into a Biotic and then something else. And then you can, you know, shipment from Tenon out 3/2s and even shipment from Tenon Biotic out a 4/2 if you want. There's also a chance that Nisei Mark II isn't the right agenda for your deck. Your deck doesn't have a lot of money. And the fact is that you want a fast event for a bit. Maybe you want to drop this to, a 4/2 that does give you credits, like a Offworld Office or something else. Yeah, so I don't know. It's interesting. It's true though. Getting a Data Loop, you can definitely score an Obokata behind it. Seamless Launch helps with that, but you have to line that up, and it's probably pretty doable. Kakugo is good too. Huh. Yeah, it's not like strictly fast advance. It's meant to be in the middle where you're jamming and fast advancing. But maybe for that case, you do want to drop like a 3/2. Like maybe you can drop Yagi Uda and play another 4/2 that does something good on tempo. Nisei Mark II abstractly is quite good with Data Loop when they have to go through multiple times. I'm just bad at deck building. No, you're not bad at deck building. This deck is actually like totally functional. You could play this, and I recommend you to play this and come up with your own, like what you've observed from it. I think there's certain things that people are going to see quickly by looking at this and like be able to address. Like right now, the amount of money versus the amount of ice cost and how fast you abstractly want to go is not going to probably line up. Like if you get diversioned on turn 2, yikes, like it's going to be bad. It's hard to fix that. like a lot of times you just want like another NGO for another Rashida. Stuff like that does help. Snare, mind you, is an expensive card inherently, but by no means you're bad at deck building. I would not say that. I'm also, I don't like playing 2 subliminal messaging unless it's like restoring humanity, but that's just like a personal thing. It's just like a really bad draw in the mid game. But maybe that's me. So I don't know. Definitely try it and see what you're seamless launching. See which cards in your hand are dead. But I think that at this point, the 3/2s and the seamlesses maybe are a bit incongruous. Don't feel discouraged. Deck building is hard. It's such a big deal. Don't feel discouraged at all. Like there's a chance I'm wrong. Like I'll be honest, I'm wrong. Seamless Launch is just good, but I do know that Seamless Launch is not going to do nothing with your 3/2s. Mind you could score Yagi Uda as a 4/2, but I don't really know what this does when you do it, which can be a good thing. Yeah, you don't want to do that. That's bad. Don't do that. This text is not good. This text is like way cleverer than it ought to be. Like it really thinks you can get into the opponent's head. I don't believe in it. At this point, you should take it out for a spin to feel. Yeah, exactly. Take it out for a spin. Let us know next week, if you can, how this goes for you. Cool. Okay. Seamless advanced score install next 3/2. Catherine, yeah, you could do that. At that point, like maybe you could just play Mnemonics, whatever that one's called. But like, is that worth having to influence? Probably not. I don't know. It's not the worst, but like it's not what Seamless could be if you just had 4/2s where you can score out a 4/2 from a never advanced state, which is wild. Like that's potentially very, very quite powerful, especially because the 4/2s are so much better than this, you know? Okay. I think that's it. Again, check on nisei.net. Looks like we have cards coming out in July. It's pretty soon. Otherwise, take care of yourselves. Thanks to everyone we played games with. everyone watching live. So fun to hang out with everyone. Everyone who's watching in the VOD, take care of yourselves. If you got comments and questions, put them in the YouTube chat. I respond to everything. Sometimes it takes me up to a week, but we get there, or as much as I can. And a like and subscribe. It helps the channel. I don't like saying it. It happens. Do you ever do non-Netrunner streams? Scrub sometimes on this channel only though. Like I don't have a second channel, so like I kind of keep it to a minimum just because people are like, this is not my Netrunner. Why are you playing Doomtown? In some ways I wish I did stream other stuff, but time is hard. I'm grateful for the ice. I do not mean to sound otherwise. Oh, okay, cool. No, but don't worry about it. Hey D, how's it going? It's also worth noting, Elwin, that you can make criticisms about literally any deck. Deck building is all about iterations. Yes. Totally. I can criticize any deck. I can look at the world's list winning deck list, and like even the person who made it is like I'm criticizing it. Like there's a rototurd in one of them. Why? But it's fine. You can win worlds. Thanks for the stream. Honestly, one of the reasons I still play. Hey, cheers. That's really good to hear. Oh, it's really nice to hear, I suppose. Maybe that's not good to hear. That's nice though. Thanks for saying that. Hopefully you're having a good time. Good luck with the election and all that down there.